Okay.
All right, folks, welcome back to Herb Sessions. I got my friend here. Is it Vinny or Vinay?
Vinay.
Vinay.
Yeah.
What nationality is Vinay?
So my
Where's that come from?
background, Vinay is actually a Hindu name. So my mom is from Fiji,
Ooh.
yeah, but of Indian descent.
Whoa.
And my dad is from New Zealand, but of Anglo descent. So he's like blonde hair, blue eyed. And then
Whoa,
I grew
dude.
up in Vancouver, Canada, and now an American citizen.
Dang. Hey, cheers, eh? This is, we're drinking Blue Label Johnny Walker Scotch.
Very good.
Uh-huh. Very expensive bottle. I think it was like $2.30 for
Yeah, I
that.
bet.
But you could tell, you get that oaky
Ooh,
taste.
yeah.
Yeah, man, that aftertaste is
As soon as it hit the tongue, I'm like, whoa.
best scotch I've ever had.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I've had some garbage scotch, and this by far my favorite. It's worth the money.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
yeah, dude.
Yep.
Well, welcome, man. It's been a while. I know I met you back like a year ago,
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Yeah, through friends, and that was my first week, I think, here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
and then everybody disappeared when COVID hit.
Yeah, but that was a fun night.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you came here from California. I think you came with Kelsey, right?
I came with Kelsey, a friend, Michelle's wife to be now, her
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I knew Michelle, and she's like, "Hey, this is what's going on." I have never met anybody else
Yeah.
besides her, and she's like, "You want to go?" I was like, "All right." I don't want to sit at home, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, that's where I met you. It was your energy was always like upbeat, dude. Like, and it still is. You still
Yeah.
have that very like, how's it going, man? What do you know, like very energetic.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I like that because I'm very like, hey, how's it going, man? Cool. There's never like a big peak. It's always like,
Yeah.
So-
Steady.
but yeah, dude, let's dive in.
Okay.
Let's talk about. There's so many things I want to talk about, but what made you come from Canada to Utah? What brought you here?
So it's funny. My ex-wife asked me that on our first date.
Oh.
What brought you to Utah? And I told her that when you go fishing, you have to go to the pond. So my backstory is I grew up LDS, so Latter-day Saints, a Mormon.
Me too.
Okay.
We could talk about that too.
There-
Yeah. Let's definitely talk about that.
And I grew up as a Mormon in Vancouver, Canada. So I was actually a really Mormon. We drive 45 minutes one way to get to church on Sundays. And so grew up LDS, and then went on my mission when I was actually 21. Went a few years later.
Where did you go on your mission?
Went to Argentina. Yeah, Salta.
So do you speak Spanish too?
Por supuesto.
Yeah. Oh, okay. You do. My brother went to Ecuador, I think. Dude, his story is wild. I don't know if you've heard his story on the podcast.
No, yeah.
Man. But
More to catch up on then. But yeah,
Yeah.
I went and started my mission. And then when I got home, because I had my green card, and I got a green card because my uncle, who also married an American, sponsored my family to come down to Salt Lake, or to the U.S., because he worked for Boeing down in Seattle. So,
Oh.
close
Yeah.
relations there. And then that's how I got my green card. But when I got off my mission, I was like, all right, well, I got the travel bug because I know what it's like to live abroad. And so I had an 18-year-old car, a credit card, a couch to crash on, and $100 cash in my pocket, and moved to America. And I haven't looked back since. And then after that, it was a week into the U.S. where I found a job, a place to stay, and friends I still have to this very day.
wow.
That's what I love about America. It's just what you want to do with yourself and how you want to, people you want to surround yourself with. There's just opportunities that are abundant. And it's just finding those connections that you want to be able to attribute yourself to.
Dang, dude. Dude, spoken like a true saint, man. I know I have a friend who's from Nigeria,
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to him quite often. I'm like, dude, you don't know how like inspiring you are to people who are in the United States.
Yeah.
Because like you too, you're like, man, I had nothing. I came here, and look at you now.
Yeah.
And there's people in the United States that moan and groan and think, oh, I can't do anything because this
Yeah.
and that. And it's like, dude, like you said, so how hard do you want to go after it?
Yeah. I avoid
Yeah.
complainers. If anybody
Yeah.
complains, you have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I can talk about, I've lost literally everything. So, I mean, that's the thing. You look in your perspective of life and how you get to fall back and get back up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I lived in Seattle, so I moved to Seattle, lived there for a year.
I like it up there.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
like
great-
the cold though.
It's rainy.
Yeah,
It's really
it's
wet.
starting to feel wet all the time.
But that's what I grew up in,
It's fun.
20 plus years living in the Pacific Northwest in Vancouver,
Yeah.
Canada. So,
Yeah.
lived there for a year and then went to BYU, Idaho, did a year and a half there and realized I hated the cold of Rexburg, Idaho, and got the heck out. And then got hit up by these door-to-door guys. So it was awesome because then I got to travel the country knocking doors. So I started out in LA, then went up to Sacramento, and then managed a team out in Little Rock, Arkansas, and finished off in Chicago. And then the next year I did security systems, and then I did it in South Central LA. So I was like knocking doors in Compton and Watts and Inglewood. So it's like listening to the gangster rap when I was a kid and like being like, this is the actual legitimate place.
This
like,
is where it is.
This is where it is.
What's
Crenshaw Boulevard, man.
What's the door to door? What is that? Like sales?
Yeah, sales.
Gotcha,
And again,
gotcha.
they kind of recruit you because you serve a mission knocking doors all across the world.
So you know how to talk to people.
You know how to talk. You know how to sell religion. If you can sell religion, what else can you sell? And
True.
so
Very
that's the thing.
true.
It's what I did value, and this is what I've taken, is that from door to door, you know how to ask questions. And if you can ask questions, if you can be engaging, you can grab people's attentions quick, then where's the opportunity to kind of continue on from there? And that's what's helped me in my sales career, in my life, really, just to be inquisitive. And I'm just a naturally curious person about who people are and what they do and why they do it.
Yeah. Dude, you should start a podcast. You got the voice for it. Just listening to you, it's very like, XYZ, this is how it's done. It's very thorough.
Thanks.
You should think about it.
All right. Maybe
you
I
could
should.
use this studio.
All right.
Dude. We had to give you a different drop back, but we'll figure something out. So how long did you do that for?
So I did it for one summer. For the first summer, I did it. Well, I started in January and went all the way till September until the semester started back in school, and then started running out of money, so I had to go and knock doors again for another summer.
Yeah.
And so that's when I did it for security systems in South Central LA.
How was that?
I mean, it's fine, man. I mean, I'm brown, but I do remember one time we sold ADT home security. So we had white shirts and blue shirts. Guess what color I did not wear anymore knocking doors?
Blue, I would imagine. Yeah, isn't that crazy over colors?
It is. Yeah. And I remember knocking doors and a guy stepped to me and he's like, yeah, get off my block, bro. And
was he a Crip? Or
not
a Crip,
it was probably a blood, but I don't want to find out. I'm like, yeah. Okay, tell me where to go. I'll leave. And
you should start throwing up your set, dog. What'd you say, homie?
So you learn real quick and you respect people's block and you get off. But yeah, that's when I realized I got to get settled back into school, and so that's when I moved back to Salt Lake and really started to get back into getting my education done.
Yeah, and so another big thing is you went to Harvard University, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, how did you stumble into that school?
Oh man,
that is one.
That's a good question. But let me try and get to how all these things kind of accumulated to get an education. So I'm like 25 or 20. I'm 24 when I finally start to decide to go back to school, and this is at BYU, Idaho. I did that for a year and a half, didn't like it. Really, I studied for like 7 years for my bachelor's degree. They usually call those doctors, but I mean,
dude, don't feel bad. It took me 10 years to get my schooling.
There you go. Yeah. But I know I've a non-diagnosed ADD issue.
Hey, dude, cheers. I got the same problem. But it's been diagnosed. But yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. But I started out going to the community college, and it's just a struggle for me to sit down and study.
Yep.
So I had gotten so many D's and C's. I remember the first time I got an A, I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Cloud nine, but that's few and far between. Mm-hmm. But I had a GPA of 1.76. And they told me you need to bring it up above a 2, otherwise you're getting kicked out of school.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, snap. What am I going to do now? Yeah. So you sit down with a counselor, figure things out, and I started to look at my classes, and I took math 10-10 7 times.
Is 10-10, what is that? Like
it's like the
algebra? Intro algebra?
Something like that. Yeah. I can't remember. All I remember is being 10-10.
Yeah.
And you have to get it done. You have to get a C to pass. And I kept getting D's. And I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Why can't I figure out math? Yeah. Anyways, figured it out. Got it done.
Yeah.
I think the teacher also just felt bad for me and gave me a
no,
C
he's
just to
like,
get push me
"Dude."
along
Yeah.
because I was just very charismatic and fun and outgoing in class and asked a lot of questions and people feel for you. It's an emotional take, and so got done. And the funny thing was, my GPA wasn't high enough to get into the University of Utah, so I knew I had to get my bachelor's degree. So how the U of U works is like if you're going to get a bachelor's degree from them, you have to take at least 40 credits at the U, and the rest, your 80 credits you can take anywhere else, be able to transfer. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So here's what I did. You can fly under the radar at any school. Okay.
Ooh, should we talk about this?
You can go to Stanford today if you wanted to.
Really?
You can just go and sign up for a class. Stanford will then put that on their books of how well you did in that class as a non-matriculated student. Okay, this is the key, non-matriculated student. So I was a non-matriculated student for about 2.5 years at the University of Utah. So I went in just to take class by class by class. They had no idea what my GPA was. So because you have to have a GPA above 2 point something,
or something like that?
2.25, or I can't remember.
Yeah.
But you have to have a minimum to get in, and then you have to have a minimum to graduate. So what I did, non-matriculated student, I built up my GPA, and I went from a 1.76 GPA to a 3.6 GPA, and got a degree in international studies and economics from the University of Utah. And so just before I went to go graduate, you have to go and declare your major.
Yeah.
So it's so funny because I go to sit down with the counselor, and I went to go look to do a international studies degree because it's the quickest degree I could get done.
Yeah.
They have 4 criterias, and a couple of them are have you lived abroad and you speak another language, and 2 others. Well, I'm sitting down with the counselor, and I'm talking to her. I'm like, yeah, I served a mission actually in Argentina, so I speak Spanish. And she's like, oh, do you have any sort of like documentation to say that you lived abroad? I'm like, yeah, probably in my parents' house back in Canada, in Vancouver, Canada. She's like, oh, you're Canadian? I'm like, yeah. So check. Because I'm like, oh, yeah, Canada's a foreign country.
Yeah.
So I've already lived abroad in a foreign country.
That's what's up.
But, it's just from conversation, people pick up cues and make things simpler for you and easier for you because they want to help you out.
Yeah.
And that's one of the other things I started to realize is that people always generally want to help others out. Because if you can help somebody else get what they want, they will then help you get what you want.
Right.
And so when I graduated from Harvard, or from the U, I went to go apply for graduation, and they looked at my transcript and like, how did you go to school here for so long without knowing? And they're like, never mind, let's just push you along because I fit all the criteria now that they needed. And ended up graduating from the University of Utah in a degree in international studies and economics, and flew under the radar the whole time because of the non-matriculated student status.
Whoa, dude, I've never even heard of that. That's clever.
Yeah, because nobody's going to talk to you about it because they want you to go apply and go the traditional route.
Yeah.
Something else I also learned about life is like people put rules in place because they need guidelines, because sometimes people are sheep. And they just need to show what the pathway to go.
Yeah.
I'm jumping all around on the pathway. I know my direction, but it's not straight line. It's squigglies all over the place, right? But you're all going to go into the same direction.
Yeah.
So figuring out what the rules are and then skirting around it. So you want to talk about Harvard?
Yeah.
All right. So about 5 years ago, realized that I don't really feel like the faith that I grew up with was something I wanted to continue on with. And then shortly after, my ex-wife and I realized we're probably just better off friends. So I started to think to myself, wow, what am I going to do with my life? And I looked at my kids, and I had 2 kids, and I looked at them, I'm like, what do I want their dad to think about? What do I want them to think about with their dad,
Yeah.
And my thing was like legacy. What kind of a legacy do I want to leave for my kids? And I think to myself, okay, people tend to hang out with other affluent people who are going to be affluent as well. So it's your circle of 5, right?
Yeah.
So I started to think to myself, where are those successful people at? Well, they go to Ivy League schools. I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, let's go and see what it takes to go to like Stanford and Dartmouth and Wharton. And then I started realizing I remember going back to my bachelor's degree. Well, non-matriculated student.
Yeah.
I can just go and pay for a class and
take it.
And take it.
Yeah.
So all the other schools had it. And I'm like, you know what? What is the most prestigious school that you can go to?
Yeah.
It's Harvard.
Harvard. Dude, I've been up to that campus. You recently visited there too,
Yeah.
man. Pretty phenomenal place, dude.
Yeah,
Pretty wild.
I'll have my commencement in May, but that's what I did. I went in as a non-matriculated student, filled up all the criteria for their program. So then I did all the front end work, back end work that you had to do to make myself look as good as I possibly could.
Yeah.
So then when I went to go apply to that program, oh, I did everything already. There's like, oh, okay, check mark. The thing is, I realized you have to do all the hard work so it makes the decision for somebody else easier. And this is the thing I learned about in sales too, is like, do all the grunt end.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to make a decision, and it's easy for them to make a decision. Reduce the friction points.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I did all the required classes to get into this course, and I put it on a silver platter for them to say, hey, I did everything. Now, can I get into the program? Yep. And then, a year later, I graduate from the program. So I have a master's in management from Harvard with 2 certificates, one in strategic management and the other one in entrepreneurship and innovation.
Damn, dude, cheers. Damn, that's so impressive.
Yeah.
Dude, that's wild. I've never heard anybody go that route. It's like you said, I've gone the traditional route too. I'm still paying for it too. It's like, all right, here's your core classes. This is where you're going to take every semester. Here you go. Just pay us. Yeah, so I did. I've never heard anybody like, hey, if I do all the grunt work on the back end, here you go, and they'll just let me in. Dude, that's wild. I wish more people would know stuff like that, because they don't want to tell you that.
They don't, and no school ever wants to tell you that. Because they want to go do things easiest for them, but you need to ask them the question why, and focus in on that. So when you understand people's why they set things up, well, then it makes you gear towards what their why is, and just adds in for opportunities to like really think and evolve. Yeah. So I have now my Harvard plaque on my wall, and I have my Zoom calls, and so it's kind of cool being on these Zoom calls, and people kind of comment because I'll have my bookshelf in the back, and then I'll have my degrees in my Harvard one right in the middle. And I had a call with some guy on the board of the symphony because of my young professionals group, and he looked at my wall. He's like, let me just ask you this: is that your actual background, or is that a Zoom background? I'm like, oh, Austin, no, man, that's my actual background. Yeah, this is my eBay football that I have here because I work at eBay, and then all my degrees in the back, my books. He's like, that's pretty impressive, man. I'm like, look, when you hustle and work as hard as I have to get it, I want to show it off to everybody.
Yeah. Dude, I should be like that. I have my degrees and they're just sitting in my closet.
Yeah.
Shame on me. I worked so hard for those.
Exactly.
Dude, those are not, like, I'm probably like you, they were not easy to get, but they were worth getting.
Yeah.
For sure. Wow, dude. So with your master's now, you could pretty much, do you plan on like teaching maybe in the future?
I mean, that's what I'm really good at is the whole teaching and influencing. And so I'll probably do that on the side, but as a career, and no, I mean, I think I have more of a calling just to run like my group, like I run with young professionals of Salt Lake City, just inspire others and get out there and get connected and get involved.
Yeah. Dude, you got to inspire me. I don't know anybody out here. I've been out here for over a year.
Well, that's going to start changing, man.
Dude, because, I've kept an eye on you, not in a creepy way. I'm like, man, he's always doing something, like with your young professional group, which we'll get into in a minute. But you're always doing something. There's always something going on. Like, you discover, like, some pretty cool stuff in Salt Lake, which, I know the basics here, like Whiskey Street and, simple bars like that. But you guys seem to go, like, way beyond normalcy, You do a lot of cool stuff, dude.
Yeah.
How now, was that something you were thinking about? You started that, right? Young Professionals?
I did not. I'm actually going to see the founder who started it tonight. We're going to a friend's birthday party, and she's in town. Yeah.
And how did you stumble upon them? Facebook, something like that?
Man, so this is what I always ask people when they show up to our events. It's like, how'd you find us? How'd you find us? Because I want to know. Because I want to know how many people are like me or need the same things I did.
Yeah.
So, what, 3 or so years ago, I'm going through my divorce with my ex-wife. Again, great, phenomenal human being. We just didn't. It's just time to move on from our relationship.
Sure.
And I'm thinking to myself, I got to get out there. I mean, how do you date? I was married for a decade,
Yeah.
and so, or even make friends for that matter, because I left the church and I'm getting divorced. So all of your friends,
Yeah.
where do they go?
Tell me about it.
You know,
Yeah.
and so it's a big challenge and a strain. So I start getting online, and I remember going to meetups. So I started going to these meetups of like these beer meetups and stuff like that, and these other divorcees, and all they did is talk about like,
Being divorced.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
being miserable. I'm like, oh man, the complaining. I hate complainers.
Yeah.
Life is so abundant. You should not be complaining about stuff.
Yeah.
You should be learning and moving forward from it. And they would just complain about it. I'm like, I started to think to myself, man, this is not good. This is going to be my life. I was even contemplating not getting divorced because I thought, like, man, I'm going to be just as miserable as these other people. It's better to stay with my ex-wife than it is to be alone and miserable.
Yeah.
So I started hopping around to all these different meetups. And then finally, I come in to find young professionals in Salt Lake City. And that, my friend, that was my tribe.
Yeah.
I found them.
Man, that's cool.
And go to show up at my first event. I think it was like something like meeting the mayor at City Hall. And we went all the way up to the bell tower, saw the bell tower in City Hall. And
What?
Jackie,
That's cool.
Mayor Jackie was like talking to us. And it was like, man, how would I ever get this opportunity to have the freaking mayor talk to me in my group of friends? And so made friends from there. And that was 3 or so years ago, and I haven't left ever since. So I started out just as a member, then I got asked to join the board, got involved, and then, COVID hits. So we were decimated. Nothing was going on. And then just over last year, I took it on as the president and just been running with it ever since.
Whoa.
And man, I've not looked back, and I just keep looking forward.
Dang, dude. That's cool. I
Yeah.
wish I was more ambitious like that to meet people. I'm pretty outgoing, but I'm also pretty like shy.
Sure.
I'm not really. I don't buy into I'm an introvert, extrovert, or I'm in between. I'm just I enjoy talking to people like
Mhm.
yourself, getting
Yeah.
to know their story, but also I need a break too from like people in general because I work in healthcare and you're always like it's a million questions. All right, this is what we're gonna do. It's very repetitive, and sometimes I just don't want to talk, and people
Yeah.
take that the wrong way. They're like, "Dang, this fool's kind of rude."
Well, I'll tell you a story then too, because last night we do thing called dinner club, where we'll go to a local restaurant, go and hang out, check it out as a group. So we'll have, I don't know, 12 to 15 to 20 of us just going, hanging out as a friend group to a restaurant. And then everyone else goes on their ways after that. And so Edison House is going to be a new social club here in Salt Lake. So I'm one of their founding members. So actually, I was there at their groundbreaking. So there I am with a gold shovel and my hard hat from Oakland with Cardwell on it. So he gave me my
That's
own.
cool.
It's really cool. And then you see all these like old dudes that are like in construction and finance, like finance is this guy. And then me and George are like the two young guys.
Yeah.
It's
That's
kind of
what's
funny.
up.
But so Edison House has these mixers where they're trying to build their membership, but they want to build it right. They don't just want to have people sign a check and just be able to get into a club, a social club. So what we're doing is I'm talking with one of the owners, Charlie, our founders, and I was like, Charlie, here's the thing, man. You guys are charging a membership, and it's not cheap, but it's not overly expensive, but it's not cheap. And you got to think to yourself, how are you going to add as much potential value to that member as you possibly can? And he's like, well, keep telling me, Vinay. And I'm like, your first day that somebody has the experience of going into your club has to be the absolute best day because you need to stay on this high and stay on that high.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't interact with them, and if they just show up and they don't make friends, then they're not going to come back.
Yeah.
And this is what I've learned with YP is like, I need to make sure people show up and then make friends.
Yeah.
And so with Charlie, I told him, look, you need to make sure people are engaging because you're going to get people who are not Vinay, who's going to be outgoing.
Who are pretty shy, just kind of there to see what's up. Yeah.
So my best friend Baja, who works with me at eBay, and I got him his job, and I joked around with him, and I'm like, yeah, Baja's my doppelganger. And he's like, oh my goodness, I see it now. You guys are two different people, but totally the same in the fact that you're outgoing and social. And Baja does this thing called human connection. And so he gets these team building games, get people talking, get people associating with each other. So then they start forming human connections. Those human connections are what we call friendships.
Yeah.
So these friendships are going to be able to build bonds. So when you're just at a social gathering, you're going to go and associate with that person and feel these good vibes from that person that was there, because you feel like you made a friend.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm talking to Charlie. I'm like, look, people like us that are going to show up, they're going to pay the money, because you don't want somebody who signs on to be a member of Edison's House and then look at their bill in a month or two and think, what am I paying this for?
Right.
Because I'm not making friends out of it. And he's like, Vinay, that's it, man.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get these ambassadors of Edison House to make sure people are staying engaged?
Dang. And what is Edison House? Is that like a speakeasy club or something like that? You pay a little fee, bring your own booze kind of thing?
No, you don't bring your own booze. I mean, it's not going to be an all social club where they'll have a gym, they'll have a rooftop, a pool, they have some entertaining space, a restaurant. So it's just like this social club that you can go to pay to be a member.
Okay.
And then you can just make friends and associate with people there.
Hey, that sounds cool. What? And they just broke ground to build it.
Yeah,
right?
last summer.
And they're still building it, or
Yeah, and his hope is, and he's pushing really hard to get it open by late August at the latest.
okay, dude, I want to check that out.
All right, yeah,
Let's see what that's about.
We'll bring you along, dude.
What's the buyer's fee in there? Can you talk about that? Or not quite yet?
That's their
deal.
It's around $250, I think, a month that you're paying for it, and so they're trying to still develop the value proposition for it.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple of social clubs, and so one of the other social clubs, and we're going to have our event on March 31st at a place called the Kengarf Scholarship Club. It's at the Rice Eccles Stadium.
Okay.
Okay, so on the southeast side of the stadium, there's this big group where it's like there's like a restaurant there. You can walk onto the field. They have some VIP rooms, some little outbreak rooms, all around at the stadium. And so it's also a social club that we went and checked out. And because we do so many events, and the guy that's doing memberships now has come to a young professional event a couple times, and he's like, man, I want these guys to show up.
Yeah.
They're really cool. And so they're trying to change the perception that the club used to have. And so they just recently took it over. And so they're trying to get the diverse, young, youthful people coming through. They give them a great rate for being a member. It's like $30 a month.
Oh, that's not bad.
And you're going to spend more on coffee.
Yeah, dude,
right?
for sure.
And
More
so
a bottle of booze. Right?
So it's just little things like that they're trying to start to develop and evolve and grow. And it's for all family, all kids. So my kids, I actually took them to, we did a video on a Saturday, and they just ran around on the field. I mean, they're 5 and 8. They have no idea how freaking cool it is to be running on a football field at a major college stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
that's pretty lucky stuff. Yeah.
So my kids are running around. So that's the thing. They're very, all around family friendly at the stadium club. And we're going to be doing probably our largest event there on March 31st. Probably have over 200 people of all ages to be able to come there and hang out. And so the whole idea is the stadium club just want to get exposure so they can get people to sign up to be members. Yeah. But if you don't sign up, just come and hang out and enjoy the facilities there, because we don't want to be an exclusive to everyone. You want to be able to know somebody can bring you in and show you off, and have that experience there.
Dang, dude, that's pretty cool, man. That you're doing that. I've always liked. I've been to one social club back home in California. It was cool. It was just like you said. Like, he was a member. He's like, hey, you want to go check it out? And we went there, and like they had their own bar and just everybody hanging out, and like I was like, this is kind of cool, dude. How do you get in here?
Yeah.
And there was all kinds of fees, but I was like, oh, I'm broke, dude. I can't get in. But I think it's really cool what you're doing, because, man, more nowadays, everybody really feels like alone and isolated, and doesn't really feel like there's anybody out there for them anymore. I know through COVID, I felt the same way. I was like, dude, I don't even know what I'm living for. This is like depressing, And I didn't have a tribe. I didn't know anybody. I was just hanging out in my little studio, sad ass apartment, just like going to work and coming home.
Well, you do now, man. You do now.
Yeah, dude. That's why I wanted you to get you on here because not only am I really interested in your program with what was it called?
Young professional.
Young
Young professional.
YP
YPSLC. Yeah.
YP. I always see you doing stuff. I'm like, damn, dude. Like, how do I want to check that out? I want to meet people
Yeah.
because um, I just with this too. This podcast is like, dude, I got to get more people on here. Like, I need to meet people.
Yeah.
And I'm still in the same routine. I just go to work, come home, hang out with my dog, go to work, come home,
Right.
go to the gym. And I'm not meeting anybody at the gym, you know. I'm there
Yeah.
to work out. I'm not there to make friends.
Yeah. So that's funny that you bring that up too, because like last night, so why we went to the Edison mixer is because a few weeks ago, I reached out to my friend who's works at City Hall, Roberta, and because I applied to be on their board of advisory council, so I can advise some of the things, the business things that are going on, that's going on in city of Salt Lake. Because as a young professional, like we should have some say and influence, or like tell these business owners what we think. So I applied for that, and then Roberta's like, "Hey, Vinay, you need to talk to this company, and you absolutely need to talk to Evo." I'm like, "Who's Evo, Roberta?"
Yeah.
And so she's like, "Go check them out." So made the introduction. They are this super cool, like boutique-y, outdoorsy. With you can go in there, get your skis, get your boards, rent bikes. They have an indoor skate park. They have an indoor tumbling wall. They have a restaurant. That Level 9 Sports is also in there. And then on the second floor, they have a hotel. A hotel.
This is in Salt Lake?
In Salt Lake. It used to be the Granary District.
Dude, I don't know any places, but
you got to check it out,
is
man.
Evo downtown?
It's on 4th or 5th West. 4th West, I want to say. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's phenomenal. We're going to have our young professionals group, Mix and Mingle, meet there in May. It's a gorgeous spot. And anyway, the guy, we're doing a tour of that place, and then I meet him. His name's Garrett, and Garrett's like, what do you guys do and stuff like that. And so we just start chit-chatting, and you kind of pick up he's a cool vibe, cool guy.
Yeah.
So we start chatting, and then he's just like, yeah, me and my friend Baja are there. And he's just like, yeah, I've been wanting to like check out this Edison House place. I've been on like the wait list for 2 years. I'm like, and Baja and I look at each other like, you want to go check it out?
That's what's
and
up.
it's like, what? What do you mean? I'm like, we're both founding members. Like, you want to come check it out, dude? Like, we just need to invite you. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And because the whole thing is like good vibes. We want to make sure people are a good fit.
Right.
And the people I associate with, if they're going to be good people too.
Sure.
So let's make sure we can make them all work and intertwine. And so that's why we invited him out to come. And so last night, he shows up. He's just a little, because he's an outsider from the regular dinner club group, but he starts to build friends and build relationships there. And we go to the Edison House thing, give him the introduction, make sure he knows who the founders are and a few other people, and leave him on his own. And he's out there mingling with others. And afterwards, he's just like, dude, what do you do again? and this is where we came up.
Tell him I'm awesome.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what, Garrett? I'm a friendship facilitator.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, that's it, man.
Yeah.
That's what you do. You're a facilitator of friendships. Yeah. And so now he's just like all about what we're trying to do with YP. And then he's like, hey, hotels or stuff we can do together, because the whole value that you're providing somebody, they're going to reciprocate that in kind. That there's everything always balances out, man. There's a quid pro quo.
Right.
Because if you don't reward back, I mean, somebody else is going to go and I mean, you're not going to be that person that fills somebody else's bucket.
Right.
So somebody else is going to go on and move on from you.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be that user of energy and people's time and
just wasting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So with him, he's just like, how can I reciprocate? Because if Vinay got me this, what else can Vinay help me get?
Yeah.
And that, like I said,
dude, it's such a basic concept. Kindness generates kindness. Like helpfulness generates helpfulness. It's such a basic human instinct, and a lot of people have lost it, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people, I always tell people, how can I help you? I've helped many friends with money issues and things like that. And they're like, man, they're like, I can't pay you back. I was like, look, have I asked you to pay me back yet?
Right.
Like, well, no. I was like, don't worry about it. You pay me back when you can.
Yeah.
And deep down inside, I know I'm not getting it back.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the overall reason why I did it, because somebody has given me that money to help me out in a situation, and I would not feel right if I just sat here and watched someone struggle. Be like, dude, you have the money. Help them. I don't give them thousands of dollars, but, you know, it's a couple hundred if they're hungry. They're all short on a bill. I've been very fortunate in my life to be financially pretty good with everything.
Yeah.
And like you just said, dude, like I'm not gonna waste your time. It's very generous. Like, I'm not here just all about me.
Yeah.
And that's very cool, dude. You don't meet a lot of people like that anymore.
Yeah, and it's so funny.
It sucks.
Yeah. And so this whole thing is I always try to find and add value to all these different relationships that I start to build.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a prime example. 2 weeks ago, and I sat down on a Sunday evening talking to my girlfriend, like, how the heck did this weekend just happen? Yeah. So what ends up happening is Friday night, it was like a gymnastics. The female gymnastics team was playing, so they did a watch party at the Stadium Club at the University of Utah.
Okay.
So I go there, just hang out, chat with the Giro and like some friends there, because I'm starting to build that relationship with the Stadium Club.
Yeah.
And they're giving us an honorary membership, right, to join and just to be part of it, because they know the value that the young professionals can provide. So we go there, watch, buy some drinks, hang out, make some friends, and then all of a sudden I get a text from my girlfriend, who's at home doing homework, and she's like, "Hey, Michelle has 3 extra tickets to the box seats at the Jazz game. They're playing the Dallas Mavericks." And I'm like, okay, can you
I'll
say
be
we
right
should go?
there.
Yeah. So she's like, it's already in the second half. I mean, it's already about to start the second half. I'm like, all right. So we booked it. So me and my buddy Peter went down there. We parked right in front of the Vivint Arena.
Yeah.
And Peter's like, of course, Vinay.
Prime
spot
parking.
right there.
Yeah.
The guy somebody just pulled out and you pull right back in there. So we go and we're sitting in box seats at the Jazz game watching the Dallas Mavericks play. And I'm like, whoa, when will this ever happen? We didn't pay for it, but we got invited. I didn't ask. We got invited. So we had a phenomenal Friday night. And my buddy Peter, who's married, doesn't get to go out very often, but he's like hanging out with Vinay. He's like, man, dude, of course this happens to you. Of course it does, dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have a great night. And then Saturday, I have these tickets to go to this masquerade ball for the Utah Arts Festival. And so I got them because my buddy CJ, who runs Noir SLC, and we formed this relationship. We've done a few things over the last few months. And he's like, hey, dude, you want you and your lady to come and sit at our table? I'm like, yeah, I'll come and sit at your table, bro. And of course, I'll go. And then, because our band's playing, so I'm like, yeah, and of course, I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to take videos for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to be your biggest fan up front. I don't care about all the stuff that's going on in the back.
Yeah.
I'm going to be here to support you, CJ, because you're my bro.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So we go there. He gives me 2 tickets. And then I asked them, hey, is there anybody else we can give tickets away for the event? And so I gave it away on my YP group. And the festival gave me 2 tickets to give away. So we gave those away. So I got 3 other friends in for free. And then, of course, they're going buying drinks and spending money and all that sort of stuff. So they're helping out the festival. But that's the thing. They didn't spend any money to get in. Yeah. And here I am. Me and my girlfriend are having a great time. My friends are having a great time. Then it gets done and it's like 11 o'clock or something like that. And so the girl that's with us, Kiana, she's just like, yeah, I would really... Waka Flocka's playing at Sky, but it's sold out. And I'm like...
No, it's not.
This is a trigger for me, right? Whip out my phone, text my buddy AJ, who's a VIP member, or the club guy that does a VIP up there. And my girlfriend's like, hey, Vinay, text AJ. I'm like, before she even finished speaking, I'm like, I already did.
We're in.
Let's go. So we get in the car, we go to Sky, and we walk in through the back. And we tip my buddy AJ, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Because he's taking care of us. Absolutely. And so we walk right in. They're like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah. You see this lineup down the block? We didn't have to wait in that. Yeah. We walked right in. And so they're just like, we didn't pay for it. We walked right in because of the whole added value. And then I'm taking pictures. I love taking pictures and videos. That's why I'm posting stuff all the time. And I'm up top, and one of the guys that does this other, he shoots for MigPixel, and so they do concerts, Sky, and stuff like that. He sees me doing it, and he recognizes me, and he's like, Vinay, you want to go and get the best spot in the house to take pictures? I'm like, heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
And so we walk down right next to the stage, and there I am with my phone, and camera taking pictures and video of Waka Flocka.
I saw
And
that. I saw you. He was right there, and you were like this.
I could,
Yeah.
and then he jumped into the crowd, and I could literally touch him if I wanted to.
Wow.
He was right there.
Dude, that's cool.
And that's the experiences like I get to have because of all the added value we get to produce with our group. So that's just Saturday night. That's just Saturday night. Friday night was phenomenal. Saturday night was even more epic.
Yeah.
Then I go to brunch with the owner of Echo, Karma, and Boomerang Bar. Okay? New Boomerang.
Are they all same owner or different owner? Different dudes?
So
Females?
they have multiple owners.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But he's one of them. So I'm sitting down with Rob Joseph, and super cool dude. And we did our mix and mingle there in February at Boomerang Bar, and I got to hang out with Rob and found out a little bit more about him. And this is all about the importance of the question, right? Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
Yeah. And why should I sit and listen to you?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So that's the thing. My thing is about time. Like, I'm going to give you my time. Who are you? Like, how can you add value to each other? And how can I add value to you, right?
Sure.
So anyway, I figured this out. Rob tells me, he's like, yeah, I used to be Mormon. Grew up in Australia. I did all this research for the church. Now I'm like a club owner, blah, blah. So
Damn, that dude's way different. Like,
yeah, let's go to brunch. And so him and I go to brunch on Sunday morning. And I was going to pay, right? And it's like, I invited you to brunch. I'm going to pay for you. He's like, no, I'll take care of it, man. It's fine. I'm like, I don't know a ton about the guy, but he brings his son as well. So son's super cool guy. And I met, so I also did my birthday at their VIP at Boomerang. So that's how I started also establishing this relationship with these guys as well.
Gotcha.
And so talking with them and then finding out all this whole backstory of like how he joined the church, why he left the church, all the instructions. He used to be a researcher at BYU. Whoa. So in his undergrad. So that's how he actually got his degree. Been a researcher. Dang. Found out all this church history, and he was all in it. He believed it. I mean, look, we have some quirky beliefs and quirky history.
Oh my God, dude, that's a whole I
that's some Richard Lyman Bushman kind of stuff you got to get into.
I probably went down the same road when I started looking into Mormon religion. I was like, oh, this isn't good. But it works for some folks.
Exactly.
For sure, it helps them.
Whatever your choice is. Yeah. But then him and I are just talking. We're just shooting around, and then he tells me then why he left because of it's just things he just didn't align, and then he got divorced, and then how he got into owning clubs because he was a cop, so we all knew all this stuff that's going on, and so back when like Karma and Echo was like buttoned down and buttoned up, and like they were losing their liquor licenses and just all this shady stuff on the side behind the scenes that was going on.
Yeah,
he started thinking like, here's my opportunity, let's get into it, and. Anyway, it was just a phenomenal brunch. I mean, he ended up paying for it, man. I'm like, okay, dude. Look, Rob. Next time we're going out, I'm gonna pay you, dude. Like, just because I invited you, And then the funny thing was, he was wearing a Bentley hat, and then I'm like, see it, and he's casual kind of guy. And then he mentions to the waitress, hey, is it okay if I parked out front in the cul-de-sac? Are they taking it? She's like, no, I don't think so. And anyway, so we all get done. An hour and a half later after brunch, we're walking out. And I see a black on black Bentley. Wow. I'm like, wait, that's your car? And it's like, yeah, man, I'm not just wearing the hat. I'm like,
you see the hat?
I'm just like, Rob, of course, bro. Of course. Giving him daps. I'm just like, dude, you were so freaking cool, Rob.
Yeah, those are nice cars, man.
But it's like, but I went at it like not knowing what his bankroll looked like. I don't care about that. Yeah, money just like accelerates who you already are. Same with alcohol. Same with like stimulants, right? It just accelerates who you already are. He was a phenomenal human being when I met him for the first couple times, and I just wanted to forge and develop a relationship with him. Yeah. And now I'm like, I was texting with the owner of Twist actually yesterday. Yes, Kirk, about like how he got his nomination, and like I'm like, dude, this is so freaking cool, bro. And like this is the kind of relationships I get to develop and have. Even like yesterday when we go to London Bell, what was I telling you about? After Addison House, right? So that buddy Garrett, he's going on a date. Going on a date on Saturday.
Is London Bell cool? I've never been there.
It's such a chill vibe. Bro.
Is it? Where is it at? Is it downtown?
It's on Main Street, next to Whiskey Street, and there's some other one that right next to it, and the ramen place.
Okay.
But anyway, so I'll give you an example. We go to we after we get done with the alibi with the mixer for Edison House, I take Garrett up the street. We're gonna, hey, let's go to London Bell. Let's just go check out where you're gonna go take your date on Saturday. And so he's doing a double date. So we go in, walk right in, and of course I know the Delaware person. I'm like, hey, what's up, Sam? It's like, hey, what's up, guys? Like she's just, because we've gone in there a few times, and I remember her name. And then her manager, Nikkei, was also sitting next to her. I'm like, hey, Nikkei, I just want to, my buddy here is going on a date, so he just wants to check it out on Saturday. And is that cool? She's like, yeah, sure. And then we just walked on in. So we walk on in, and I'm like, yeah, dude, this is a chill vibe. These places right here you can sit at, this lounge over here. And then I showed him how we had our mix and mingle back in November on that door behind there. So it's like a private room. And he's like, man, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then we start walking to the back, because I think, like, yeah, it'd probably be a good vibe in the back for him and his date and his friends. And then when we're at the back there, we see David Tran, who's the owner. And David's there with his buddy, so we let him do his thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, he's saying goodbye to everyone. Like, we don't want to step in and then say, hey, David, what's up?
Yeah.
Ruin the
Hey,
vibe.
David, are you busy? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, yeah, of course I am. And so David,
Some more?
yeah. So David goes and comes over to us because he recognizes us. And then he's like, I'm like, David, this guy is coming here on a date on Saturday. We wanted to bring him by, show you how cool the spot is, and help him impress his date. He's like, oh, sure, let's go and see where you can go and spot up with you and your date. And he's like, and then I'm introducing David to my buddy who's the GM of Evo Hotel. And then, again, facilitator of friendships. So David's talking to him, establishing that relationship with the guy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, man, this is so cool. And then David's talking to me and my girlfriend. He's like, hey, you guys going to go get lucky this weekend? I'm going to go both nights. If you guys come, like, hit me up. Let's go and hang out together. Yeah. And David always gets VIP. So I'm just like,
that's nice. Yeah, we're going. For sure we're going.
But it's all these sort of things, these relationships. So I have all these club owners because I've established these relationships, because I can bring people there, have a good time. People forge these positive affirmations and associations with their brand that they want to go back. So David now he's going to give my buddy a good time, show him, impress his date. Yeah. And then David needs a hotel. Hey, we got the GM on speed dial, So it's just these, like, positive vibes, positive affirmations, great opportunities that you just facilitate these friendships.
Yeah.
And people will always associate you with facilitating that friendship,
Yeah. Dude, you're right where you need to be, man. Because I probably already said this, but when I first met you, and I know I did say this, but you just have that energy.
Yeah.
You have that energy where people are just, like, very drawn. And you realize very unique talent that you have, and you use it in a very positive way. You bring a lot of people together. And when you bring a lot of people together, have a lot of good resources and talents, everybody starts using them in a positive way. Hey, I could do this for you. All right, let's build something. We can make a company. We can start a podcast. We can start a editing company.
Yeah.
And it's really good to hear that nowadays, because you just don't hear it. All you hear is about, I want to be YouTube famous. I want to be TikTok famous. I don't want to ever go outside and mingle with people. And that's where human beings, that's what we're supposed to do, is mingle.
Yeah.
Help each other out. This, like, weird connection that we have, disconnect we have now, it sucks, dude.
Yeah.
And I see it with a lot of my brothers going through it with his kid. It's just, this social media is just outrageously damaging,
Yeah, people think it's easy. People think it's easy. There's something about K. Anders Ericsson, he did this thing called the 10,000 hour rule on violinists or pianists, about how you have to play 10,000 hours before you become a perfectionist or master in it. Yeah. And it's all about purposeful practice is really what it is. It's like going to the gym and just lifting the extra rep so you can feel the burn in your muscle growth. And it doesn't happen overnight. You have to keep hitting the gym every day or every other consistently, right? Yeah. Over 10,000 hours. And so he found that that's the case, but it's about putting in time and effort.
Right.
Because you're going to grow your social circles. Like I just don't show up tomorrow and have a friend because I just show up. It's because I established and grew and have these relationships that I developed over the years.
Yeah.
And the value proposition that I also provide. and the passion and desire I have. Because, like I said earlier, like I lost everything. So
Yeah.
when I got married in 2008.
Okay.
In January 2008. What happened in 2008?
That was the economic decline, right?
I bought a house.
Oh, and you bought a house during that time. Eesh.
Yeah.
That was probably, where'd you buy a house at?
Sugar house.
Oh, so you bought a nice spot too.
And, you live and you learn. But I got
Yeah.
denied 3 times for the loan. But this is how determined I am to because I got a new wife. I'm going to impress her and show her
yeah.
man.
I'm gonna take care of. Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm a man's man.
And I got a home.
Respect for that. Too.
Yeah, I got a home for us so we can build our family in it, and over leveraged and had to let it go.
Yeah.
Short sold that home and then collected all the debts that we had in there and filed for bankruptcy.
Oh,
So
dude, sorry to hear that.
No, I'm so glad I went through it because then I know and understand what it takes to be forgiven.
Ah.
So now it made me realize how important it is to forgive, because the weight and burden that the debts had on me, that kept me up at night, that kept me thinking about my relationship with my wife, putting blame on others instead of focusing back on myself and how I can get out of this situation, changed. It evolved my thinking into who I am today.
Yeah.
So going through bankruptcy and literally losing everything and then realizing I can get it all back and some.
Yep. That's what's great about living in the U.S.
Yeah.
If you want to bounce back from it, you can. I know handling my debt right now, I've dedicated to, Dave Ramsey?
Absolutely.
Dude, I've dedicated mine to the baby steps, and don't get me wrong, it sucks major ass, because the amount I'm putting away just for my school debt, it's like, dude, I still feel like I'm in college and I've gotten nowhere.
Yeah.
Because I have to put $2,000 away, and that leaves me with like $1,000 to live off of. Just to pay other bills like car, food, and whatever else, the basic necessities, and it leaves me with very little to even go out.
Yeah.
But I looked at it, and he was like, how important is your life and how important is your debt? That's how I look at it. Well, my life's very important.
Yeah.
My debt is like, well, I can get rid of that. And I sat down and I figured out, all right, if I put $2,000 a month away for the next 10 months, I'm done. I'm debt free I have no car payment, nothing. I'm 100% debt free.
Yeah.
And then that opens up. Now that I have that $2,000, since I'm so used to putting it away, what can I do with that now?
The habits.
Yeah, the habit sticks. And it's hard, dude. His program is tough, dude. Yeah. He plays no mercy either. He's like, well, what are you going to do about it? And like, I watch him all the time on YouTube, the way he handles people. It's like, dang, dude, I get kind of mad at this fool, but it works.
Yeah.
And, but to go through what you did, you lost everything, but you realize, like, dude, with humble experience, I can get it all back, and you have gotten all back. I believe you have a house now.
Yeah.
Right?
Bought my first house on my own. All on my own.
All on your own.
And it's just a great feeling. And my car's paid off. My car's paid off.
Dude, getting that paid off is like, oh.
It was this huge burden. I'm like, whoa, there's one less payment I have to make.
Yeah.
And it's just this incredible feeling that you get to have. And
it's true freedom. True freedom.
It really is.
Yeah.
You're not in servitude to anybody.
You don't owe anybody anything. And that's like the ultimate like dream come true. So
that's the thing. And then when you can eliminate yourself from like all these type of burdens, what now can you think about of abundance? So I'll give you, for example, for what you're doing right now. You're putting in these 10,000 hours of building your craft, honing on your craft, hitting your craft. You're taking that fucking chisel to that rock and chipping it away. So I'm a Freemason.
Yeah. Hey.
So I'm a Freemason.
I know a lot about Freemasons.
So they talk about the rough astler at the altar. You have these tools as a Freemason. You have the compass and the square.
Mm-hmm.
You are there to take this rough rock and make it smooth and square.
Right.
And you don't do that from one chip away. You consistently hone at your craft.
Yeah.
You put these podcasts together. You put these, you go out and DJ. You get some sets together. You go and mess up every single time.
Yeah.
But you know what? People will forgive you because you're trying.
Yeah.
And until
dude.
one day, it hits.
Yeah.
You hone and hit on your craft.
Yeah.
And for me, that's how I've been able to do it. I talk to people all the time, but it just didn't come so easy. I told you, I knocked doors.
Yeah.
I had doors
Dude,
slammed on my
nobody does
face.
that anymore either.
I knocked
That's a hard craft.
doors.
Yeah.
And I learned how to ask questions. And those questions have allowed me to get to where I'm at.
Yeah.
So it's all the stuff you've done years prior that you don't realize you're doing today. In like next week, next year, next month, whenever that's going to be, you're going to go back and look back on that. And I'm like, I remember experiencing that. And now I know how to get through it.
Yeah.
Every single time, man. Whatever we do, it has to be in purposeful practice that K. Anders Ericsson talks about. Purposeful practice to help us hone in on our craft.
Yeah.
So you can't just take a chisel to that rock without it being a strike that's going to make not a divot, but a straight line.
Yeah. Dude, it's funny you say that because putting this together, this podcast, putting all this, like, all the lighting and, there's some money in this room.
Yeah.
And it's all done by me slowly but surely. Like you said,
Yeah.
I just didn't get that camera, overnight. That took me a year to get. And I was shooting off my phone for the longest time.
Really?
And you could see the different quality on my YouTube
Absolutely.
channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, dude, like, how can I make this better? Like, like this is what I really like to do. Because, I got a 9-to-5 job that
Yeah.
pays for all this. I went to school just like you did, a very, very high education, very good career. But I know it's not my calling.
Yeah.
And I always tell my friends, like, look, my school was always plan B to get to plan A.
There you go.
Yeah. Like, I knew school is important, especially in the United States. Well, anywhere, really.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the problem I have with like these dudes are like, go out, do your dreams, this and that. It's like, well, who's going to pay for all the shit that you need? You can't wake up and just build a studio like this,
Right.
like on hopes and dreams. You got to go to work.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't tell you. Like, I really get bent out of shape with some of these guys. Like, you should follow your dreams. You only live life once and this and that. And look at me. And it's like, well, you're rich, so you could say whatever you want to say. But you forget the valuable point of, well, you got to work hard.
Yeah.
You may have to work at McDonald's for 20 years before you even see some sort of success in what you really want to do.
Yeah.
But you don't ever talk about that. That's super annoying. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
And it's all over social media, everywhere you look. Follow your dreams. It's like, well, these are all rich people telling you this shit, And no offense to rich people, they did it right. They figured out how to get there. But you need to tell them, like, this doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
This did not happen overnight. This was a long thought out. I did this way back in like 2004, I think, 2005.
Oh, wow. Even
6.
before podcasting was podcasting.
Yeah. A friend told me about it. He's like, you should do podcasting. I was like, what is that? I got a little tiny mixer. There was no video at the time. I had no idea how to do that, but I figured out the audio.
Yeah.
And it came out really good. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I did it with my brother for a while. And then I sold everything because I was like, I got to go back to school. Like, I got to get an education. My parents aren't the type of people that are going to help you out.
Yeah.
I was like, the school's important. It's always been important to me. I was like, all right. I finished up school. And then when I was done, I was like, man, I want to start that back up.
Yeah.
And then here it is, 10 years later.
See what I mean, bro? I just told you.
held on to it because I knew, like, I'm good, not to toot my own horn, but I'm good at it. I know what makes and looks like a good podcast,
Mm-hmm.
what's a good interview. I'm a lot like yourself, where I enjoy talking to people, and it's a lot of questions. Tell me about yourself. What do you do? How did you get here? Why?
Yeah.
And there's like, and a lot of people don't ever get that chance.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to give people, I always tell people, it's never for me. This is always for you to go back and like, damn, look what kind of human being I am.
Yeah.
And people don't get that anymore. They don't get that opportunity to talk.
I remember hearing, is it Francis Bacon talked about knowledge is power and power is knowledge or something like that. So that always kind of stuck with me. But I remember, you ever listen to Rage Against the Machine? Zach De La Rocha.
Yeah, not the biggest fan, but I know.
I grew up in
Rage
Against the Machine.
Yeah,
And Zach De La Rocha said in a lyric in one of his songs, he's like, Do you know the power of the question? And like,
Yeah.
what? What the hell? What are you talking about, man? Do you know the power of the question? So he who controls the conversation, oh no, he asks questions, controls the conversation.
Yeah.
So one of the things I learned from being on door to door, people will go and like, oh no, it's cool. I don't want it. And when I'm selling satellite services, I'm like, oh hey, what's the size of your TV? I was like, wait, what? Size of my TV? Why does that matter? Oh no, if you want to maximize the output of your TV, like, are you getting the right cable? Blah blah blah. Like, it allows you to like, have the conversation. Why are you asking me that? Why are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Because this, and this. Do you know the power of the question? So if you can ask a question, you control the conversation.
Yeah. It's very true, man. I know when I have friends who are in like crisis mode with something going on in their life, it's always questions. I don't ever go, how dare you? Why didn't you do it this way? It's like, well, how did it get there? Well, this is what kind of happened. I'm like, well, how do you feel now? I don't feel so great. I'm like, remember that feeling. Remember what you went through.
Yeah.
And remember that. I don't ever want to go through that again. So don't do that again. Try something else. Try a different route. You know, a lot of us are in bad habits, especially when it comes to relationships. You know, with your significant other, you know, I've done it too, where it's like, well, I'm looking for this, and well, every time I look for that, it never works out. So why do I keep going for it?
Yeah.
And until you hear yourself say it and realize it, I mean, you won't change. And that's why I always, like you said, I ask questions.
Yeah.
I was like, did you hear what you just said? How you answered it? Yeah. There's your answer.
Yeah.
It's so wild, dude. It's so wild. You let people talk, and they're just like, whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's great what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
It looks like you're great dad. Your kids look happy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry to hear about divorce and all that stuff.
Oh
It's
no,
never
man, it's
easy.
the best thing for your life, you know.
Yeah.
Again, she's a phenomenal human being. But
And you guys met like here?
yeah, in Salt Lake City. We met in what they would call singles ward.
Oh, so you guys met through the church?
Yeah.
I
We were
know the
both
single
LDS.
ward.
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's very pretty. I mean, she's half Japanese. She's gorgeous.
Of course.
And
Japanese great. Asian, I'm just going to go out and say Asian women are by far the prettiest
yeah,
women on the planet.
Everyone has their preferences, right? And I definitely agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You know, there's and I
Something
grew up in
about
Vancouver,
them.
Canada. Yeah, I grew up in Vancouver, Canada.
The
So
abundance of different Asian cultures.
So so when I saw her here in Utah, I'm like, a green-eyed Asian? Yes. But again, phenomenal human being. And but the thing is, you know, we looked at it. We're like, we're just better off being friends. And with our kids, we never speak bad about each other.
Good for you guys.
We text about our kids all the time because we know we have to get along. And she's an introvert. You know, I'm the extrovert. That's why I think she liked me when we first got together. But you know, things happen. We move apart, and she's a phenomenal mother to our children. And even yesterday, our second child, Immersion, got accepted into Chinese immersion program.
I saw that on your post there.
Yeah,
Dude, that's cool.
My daughter Asher and my son Emerson are both going to be in Chinese immersion program together.
Wow.
So
what does that program entail?
So basically, you're going to learn
Chinese
English,
culture?
and then you're learning Chinese culture, and you're learning Mandarin. And here, then they go and take that in Bountiful. You know, Bountiful of all places, right?
Wow, dude, of all places, dude. Every time I think of Utah, I just think it's just white people, you know.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing I'm trying to do with my group of young professionals. We're all about diversity.
Yeah.
And you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, we're all about that, and trying to figure out how do we fit in with the parameters that we have. Again, you have your rules,
right,
of what goes, and then we're trying to skirt around those rules and trying to build up to this community that we're a part of.
Yeah, especially in Utah, it's very predominant. I'll be upfront, just white, you know, descents, and it's very rare do you see, unless you go to the Asian markets. That's where I go, where I see different cultures finally.
Yeah,
and when I went out, when I lived downtown, I never saw anybody but white folks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very of like European descent, but I'm also very like Spanish and Mexican too.
Yeah.
Like a big portion. I mean, my grandpa's from Mexico, And it's like, dude, I'm not, just because I look pale as shit,
Yeah.
because doesn't mean I'm that all the way through and through,
Yeah.
you know?
And so that's the thing. That's why I love what I get to do, is because we just try to be as all inclusive as possible. We don't care where you're from, who you
That's
are.
great, man.
I just want to be your friend.
Yeah.
And we're all inclusive. Just come and hang out. I'm a friendship facilitator.
Yeah.
Just come, make friends with everybody else, and just have a tribe. I'm just trying to develop everyone to have a tribe. If you're coming from a new move-in transplant to Salt Lake or Utah, I want to give you that friend group.
Yeah.
I had somebody hit us up on Instagram on Tuesday, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just new here to Salt Lake. I'm like, well, I'm going to give you your friend group, dude. Come and hang out with us. He's like,
Yeah.
and he was so surprised. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, just come hang out. No strings attached. Just be a cool freaking person.
Yeah. Just be nice. I mean, that's all. I think that's your overall goal. I feel just need nice folks, do nice things. There's so much like just negativity and bad shit right now, and I feel you on that. I think it's great what you're doing, man.
Yeah,
I
and
know
so
I keep saying it, but it's super cool.
well,
I'm all for it because I need a tribe too, man. I mean, I got the few people here that are very important to me. They know who they are, but I think about it too when they're not available. Like who do I go to? Like
yeah,
I hang out with my puppy. Yeah, that's great, but I don't have like friends to call in case I'm in a bind or.
yeah.
And it's scary. It can be quite scary sometimes.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing, right? And that's why I do what I do, is so I can help facilitate these opportunities for you to make friends and grow these relationships and opportunities. Because you never know, like you just said, like you started podcasting like when in '04, '05, whatever that was, and now you're doing it now. You never know when friends are you're gonna need to tap on the shoulder to help you out when you're in a jam, or just if you want to just we can hang out.
Yeah,
I just
someone
want
to talk to.
I just want some friends to go and, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, someone to talk to, man. That's huge.
So that's the thing. If I can help facilitate that, how much better off you're going to be, and then you're going to associate that good vibes and good feeling with Vinay, because you help facilitate that. My friends call me Good Time Vinay, because every time you hang out with me,
Good times.
yeah, it's a good time.
Up.
It is, man, and that's my rep. I mean, so I have to live up to my rep, because I want to make sure you're going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good time. And next time we hang out, we're going to have a better time.
Yeah.
It just keeps escalating more and more. And that's why I look. And so I go back to like my ex-wife and my kids. So at dinner time. So she's a registered dietitian. So her thing is,
Ooh,
food.
Yeah.
Right. And so
She knows all the ins and outs.
She does. And again, here I am kind of ignorant as a male and not understanding her feelings and like things like that when I was, because I grew up with all boys and this like patriarchal kind of mentality and stuff. And she had an eating disorder. It was a challenge for her.
Wow.
And I didn't really understand it because I didn't understand it. I'm a guy. I'm burn calories. I work out at the gym. Like, just go and work out, honey. Just like, don't eat junk. It's just like, I'm telling her what to do, but not listening to what she's trying to tell me to do.
Yeah.
So that's why she became a dietitian. And now, every single night when I have my kids, we sit at the dinner table, turn off the TV, and we just talk.
Yeah, that's great.
And we cook a meal. It's not like I go to McDonald's and like give my kids like McDonald's and like, hey, let's go sit down at the dinner table. No, it's like I cook a meal. My son, who's 5 years old, always asks to help me. And I take pictures with him because I'm like, this is so freaking cute, because I want him to know when he's 15, when he's a jerk to me, how cute he used to be.
When he hits that teenage, like, damn, I hate my dad. No, not always.
Man. You told me you love me. You told me I'm the greatest dad. But that's the thing. So I do that, and then my ex-wife does that too. And I say, hey, when you're at mom's house, do you guys watch TV when you're eating? Because they always try to sneak it in. Dad, can I watch TV? Can I watch TV? I'm like, do you do that at your mom's house? No. What, do you think you're going to do that at your dad's house?
Go back into the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
Ask questions, control the conversation.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, we're on the same page on a lot of things when we're trying to develop and rear our kids. And our kids are just phenomenal human beings, because I tell them, whenever we go and hang out with adults, you need to say hi. You need to ask them what their name is. And you need to tell them thank you for letting them come to your home. Just simple things.
Yeah.
You always acknowledge an adult when they're in the room and say, "Hi, my name's so and so." And then you say, "Hi, what's your name?" And you have an engaging conversation. Think about that. They are freaking 8 and 5, and they're doing that right now.
Yeah.
Think about when they're 25.
Dude, people are going to respect that.
How much more powerful they are going to have in a conversation because they have 20 plus years of developing that craft.
Yep.
So
a simple. I don't know too many kids that are even doing that at all.
But my kids do.
It's horrible, man. I feel so bad for the youth coming up behind us. It's just like, man, I don't know what your future really looks like, man. You know, a lot of parents are just disconnected. It's easier to turn on the TV and shut you up.
It really is. It was just a challenge, and I think it's also to us as human beings as a society. And like, look, just people want connection. And again, I think that probably goes back to the whole thing why I run YP is because I want human connection. I want us to get out. Want us to build our tribes. Yeah. So with my kids, they're on their tablets. I'm not saying I'm not going to let them watch TV.
Yeah.
They're on YouTube and Netflix and stuff like that. But when they're with dad, guess what? They're not on
their devices.
Right? Because dad's not on his device. Because dad's having a conversation with you.
Yeah.
You know, every time I pick them up from school, from their daycare, and because they have an after school program, so I pick them up from there. And when we're driving home for the 15 minutes, and I say, "Hey, what'd you guys do learn in school today? What'd you do? What words did you learn? What books did you pick up?" You know, just having a conversation with them. And I remember sometimes when I'm just like, I'm kind of zoned down into myself, and then my daughter will be like, "Hey, Dad, don't you want to ask me what I learned today?" I'm like, oh my goodness. But they're so accustomed.
Yeah.
And then every time when I put them to bed, I'll go into the room, scratch their back, and the question I ask them is, "Hey, what's your favorite thing about today?" I get them to think back and reminisce on their day. So they love that because they're like, "Dad's coming in, scratching my back." My 5-year-old just rambled on what he did during the day. I'm just like, it's not your favorite thing, but just hanging out with your friends and eating lunch and
everything but school. Hanging out was super fun.
You know, but I hang out with when I put my daughter to bed, she'll like actually tell me, "You know what I really loved about today? I did this, this, and this with my friends and made them smile and made them feel happy." And I'm just like,
picking that up from you and your ex-wife.
Because I told her as well. I remember when I used to put her to bed, I'm like, "Hey, Escher, who did you make smile today?" And she's like, "I made my friend smile because of this, this, and this." And I'm like, "Yes, see? If you can make somebody smile, how much are they going to associate that good feeling to you making them smile?"
Yeah. Yeah. We're definitely emotional creatures. We are. I forgot where I read it, but it was simply put that way. It's like human beings aren't that hard to figure out. We're just emotional creatures. That's it. So if your daughter did something that made a kid feel super happy, that kid will remember that forever. It's wild.
One of the greatest books I've ever read in my whole entire life was called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Written in the 1930s, and it's still a bestseller.
Still a hitter, huh?
It is. And he says you need to be lavish in your praise and you're hearty in your approbation. Meaning you need to laud people with like, "Oh man, you're so great, you're so wonderful," and be genuine about it. I mean, you can tell.
Yeah, don't be. Yeah, you know when the phony balonies are showing.
Exactly.
Like, all right, dude.
You know, you can tell when somebody's not smiling because it's like the zygomatic process in your eyes. You don't get the crow's feet. And, you know, like you're smiling right now. I can tell that's a genuine smile, right?
Yeah, you can tell those fake smiles. Like,
you can because people are conditioned to understand bullshit.
Yeah,
because it's a risk mitigator, right? We try to avoid risk, and hearty in your approbation, meaning like, look, you're a phenomenal person, and here's why I think you are phenomenal. You know, my daughter will go and talk to a stranger, and she'll tell people randomly, "Hey, I like your earrings." It's like, what? Yeah. I remember we were in the elevator like last weekend. My daughter's like, "Oh, you have really pretty earrings," and the lady's like, "Oh, thank you." You know, like, who's this kid telling me I have pretty earrings? And she's like, "What's your name?" And this starts out of a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, like, these are my kids who are lavish in their praise and hearty in their approbation. You know? Dang, dude, they're learning how to win friends and influence people.
Well, they're learning how to like talk too. They're learning how to communicate, which I feel is such a like undervalued thing in this world. You know,
So-
just a simple communication like we're having right now. We've
Yeah.
almost gone 2 hours, and it doesn't probably even feel like that.
No.
You know, and some people can't even last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what? I get analytics back on my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
and I actually get a lot of feedback from my friends. Like, yeah, that was a really great. It's just so long. It's so long. You just keep going and going. They're like 2 hours is a long time, and some other very important close people have said the same thing. They're like,
Yeah.
it's just very long. I'm like, but do you understand why I like it like that?
Yeah.
It's because this is a conversation.
Yeah.
You know, this is a normal thing. If we weren't on video, we'd probably be having anyway.
We'd just be chilling out, bro.
Yeah.
Chilling out on the couch, sipping
Yeah.
some bourbon and whiskey and having a
Yeah.
good time.
And that's what I tell people. I was like, I know it's long, but you could always go back to it. Some people have told me maybe you should split it. I was like, nah, but that takes away from the genuine
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. I mean, heck, if anything, you could put it at 1.25% the speed or 1.5. That's what I do. I listen to my audiobooks at 1.25 speed.
Yeah, you can speed it up. I didn't think about that.
I'm still retaining the content.
Yeah.
It's not too fast for me to absorb it. And so
Right.
that's how I listen to my audiobooks.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I'm reading books, actually, I put it at 2x the speed. So I'm highlighting and reading at twice the speed that I can read and understand, but I'm still retaining because I'm reading it, marking it up in my book, putting in the margins because I can press pause, go back to it, and then I'm listening to it orally. So I'm absorbing all this information of like how I can build a better widget or what the project is and how to find resolve because I'm also making margins in the book so I can flip through it physically and remember, oh, that's that issue that they brought up in the book, and I can relate back to it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. I think
Something about continuously learning.
Continuously learning. And I think more people are better visual or audio listeners.
Yeah.
This whole read a textbook and absorb it, it's like, dude, I could never get through a textbook.
Yeah.
I just sat at it and looked at it. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing on the planet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My my ex-wife, just how dorky she was, freaking Japanese, right? Like and not being Japanese, being dorky, but you know what her scholastics is that she told me when we were dating that she has read every single page in every single textbook she's ever grabbed.
Wow.
I'm like, what?
Yeah. That's so hard. Textbooks are so just.
Yeah, I'm like, you've read every single page? She's like, yeah. And it's just one of these things, being an overachiever. You know, that's just who that's one of the reasons why I loved her, you know, like these sort of things that
That's
people do.
Japanese culture though in general.
You know,
just
it's still, I get it. And, you know, so she wanted to also make sure she impressed. And so I get that sort of stuff, but it also helped benefit her because she did very well. She didn't need to she did her master's program at University of Alabama. So Roll Tide. And so she didn't even have to take an entrance exam because she did so good in her undergrad.
Yeah.
You know? And so that just, you know, goes to show her ability to learn and retain information.
Is spot on. Some people just can look at something and go, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
Not me. I look at a book and go, dude, I just start stressing out, dude. It's not for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when I get it on audio, no problem.
Yeah.
You know, driving the car, wherever, at the gym,
Yeah.
it just makes sense for me.
Yeah.
And,
one of my favorite apps right now is Blinkist. So they'll give you a
don't
book
know that.
review in 12 minutes.
that's awesome.
Yeah. So you get to absorb a book review, and what I'll do is I'll put it at 1.5 times the speed and listen to it twice.
Yeah.
You know, so if I don't get it the first time because it's too fast, then I will get it the second time because it re-hits again. I'm like, I remember the second time I'll hear it. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this because it made this impression in my mind. So I'm going to remember it again next time I hear it. So listen to Blinkist. And then also when I was going through Harvard, I got the student account. I got to cancel my Audible account, but now I had the student rate. And now, because I'm not a student anymore,
Dude, I love being a
rate.
student, getting all those discounts, man. I remember I got Spotify for like $5, dude.
I still have it.
Yes.
I still have it.
They got me. They're like, nah, I couldn't prove it anymore. And they're like, you have to pay $10. I was like, hey, $10 ain't bad.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and I get Hulu with it.
Yeah.
So $10 ain't bad. But yeah, that all those, man, you get so many deals on everything for being a student.
But right now I'm listening to Sapiens.
Don't know that one.
Oh man, you want to know the history of human evolution?
Sapiens. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's phenomenal.
I don't know if I want to know. I don't even think we are what we think we are. You know?
we're still in the assimilation that Elon Musk talks about, right?
I mean, I was talking about this the other day. I'm like, don't you think it's weird? Like when you get a cut, it heals over time. You just give it enough time, it'll heal.
Well,
You break a
yeah,
bone,
it's
and
regenerative
it heals. Isn't
because
that
it wants to keep
weird?
living.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
We do not want to die.
Your body, but the weird thing about a human body is it could be your best friend or your worst enemy.
Yeah.
And that's what's really weird too. It's like I'm in this body. I don't know why I'm even in it. And yet it could really work for me or I can be stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of my life.
So
Yeah.
here's something I don't probably talk about too much about my son. So here's the thing too with him. There's something called hydrocephalus. And what it is, it's a fluid in your membrane, in your brain of your body. So you have ventricles in your
Yeah.
brain. So you have
Does
fluid
he have a drain tube?
exactly. So
Yeah. I know all about medical, buddy. That's where I live in medical.
okay.
Yeah.
So he's in utero, and they do the ultrasounds, and so they see like these ventricles they're a lot bigger.
Than they should be.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And here it is. We're in St. George for my ex-wife's residency. So we're living down there. Have my 3-year-old at the time. We're set up to have our second child. And this is when I actually start contemplating my life and the life of like the church that I've lived in and for all of my years. And then we get this news that our son may have hydrocephalus. His prefrontal cortex is not. It's smooth. It's not. The ridges aren't deforming and developing. And they tell us like his ocular nerves are not developing either. He may be blind. He may not be able to walk. He may not be able to speak. You are going to have a challenge with basically
everything and anything you could think of.
And so I am on the verge of understanding that I don't want to be Mormon anymore.
Yeah.
And in having this bomb hit me and to think to myself, wow, I think to myself, is the Lord chastening me for not obeying him and understanding that he is who he is.
A normal thing that most people go to.
Yeah. And I'm contemplating, I'm running through it. I'm struggling with all this. And I get told by these doctors that my child may never walk, see, or talk ever. And so finally, he's born. Comes a day, he's born. I see him come out, this perfect little human being.
Yeah.
They do the tests, his hands, his eyes. He's fallen to light, and like all these things. I'm like, my heart is welling up as a father to see my kid who's reacting the way he's reacting. Mm-hmm. And it's just like this whole like, just I can't explain it to you, man. This welling up of emotion that I get to have because my wife is sitting on the table because she just gave birth. And they're moving him over to this table to do all the tests with him. Yeah, yeah. And she can't get to see that, and to see his eyes for the first time that he's ever been born.
They're probably going like this, making sure, dilating and things like that.
And I just see tears in my ex-wife's eyes, and like just to see that, like, and I look over and I'm like, this is good. Yeah, this is good. I didn't shake my head. I nodded to her, and you can just see it coming down, and again, like. Where she's still developing. Yeah. So we're going through our things as well, her and I. And so right when he's like a year and a half or so, we end up getting divorced. And that's one of the things that wells on my mind is like, how is he understanding still everything? Because he's not really talking. He's slower when some of the things he does. His motor skills are there, and we had an occupational therapist work with us and like help him to start walking actually, because he was slow to walk. And do all these motor skills that you typically should know by this time. So we're just like, oh my goodness. So I think to myself, man, I could be potentially getting divorced. I'm turning 40. What's going to happen? Uh-huh. And then I have this special needs kid. Like I'm thinking to myself, who's going to want me because of all this extra burden I have on myself? Sure. And then my kid, like I can't be there for him and do all the things as a single dad. So it's like all these things are kind of like piling up on top of me. And finally, he starts to speak at the age of 3. And you see him now, and then we put him in soccer, and he's playing with other kids and engaging with them. He talks to his sister. He's learning math and words, and he's like, Dad, do you know how to spell bet? It's B-E-T.
Yeah.
And you know what you do? You bet with it. Like, it doesn't really make sense, but
Doesn't make sense, but all right.
and I look at it, I'm like, man, you talk about how the body is incredible. This kid is not supposed to speak,
walk
or talk. But yet he is so defiant to push himself through whatever he went through, that he is this just phenomenal little child that I just want to just squeeze and oodle and corral, because I just freaking love that. Because he should not be doing what he's doing today, but he is. And defying those odds, because that's just who he is about his character.
Well, he gets it from you, man. He defines those rules.
And,
like
his wife, too.
All right, how can I work around that? And I think a lot of that was probably embedded in his brain. I'm like, all right, all that stuff they said, nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the
Good
thing,
for
man.
him, man. I'm happy that
Me too.
He's got a good life ahead of him.
He's going to have a great life ahead of him.
Yeah. Does he have a stint put in? Or did they hold off on that?
No, we held off on that because we wanted to see if it was going to develop on its own.
Gotcha.
And so it seemed like things were moving normally. And he just has a bigger head, to be quite frank with you.
Sure.
His head is just a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
You know? It's okay.
He'll grow into it.
They
always grow into it.
Yeah. But you look at him, he just looks like a happy, normal, cute, adorable human being.
Yeah.
He hugs everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, I had that, not the same situation, but I had a lot working. I was born with cleft lip and palate. And they didn't even see it. This is where technology was not. I was born in 86.
Mm-hmm.
This is where technology couldn't see or even define stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I was born, my dad even told me, he's like, dude, when you were born, I passed out. I was like, what? Why'd you pass out? I was like, we didn't even know that was coming about.
Yeah.
So like I had to battle through everything. I had to battle through hearing loss. I couldn't hear for a while. Vision.
Mm-hmm.
I almost lost my vision. And then I was in speech therapy for a while, but boy was I a slow learner. I mean, slow to the point where I was in like special programs after school because they were like, I don't know about this kid.
Yeah.
But even going through all that trauma, I mean, I had like 20-something odd surgeries just to get to where I'm at now. A lot of reconstruction because, when you have cleft lip and palate, it runs all the way through. So you have a gaping hole that runs all the way through.
Yeah.
That's why I have the scar here. So they just took the lip, stuck it together, and they're like, okay, we got that part figured out. But as he grows, we have to keep molding his face because he doesn't have that kind of structure where a normal person has and it forms naturally. His is going to form oddly. So, I mean, I was in a wheelchair at one point because they had to take a piece of my bone and stick it up in my mouth.
Really?
Because that's how they did the bone transplants back then. Now they take it from another human, I guess.
Really?
Or somebody. But they took it from my hip. I still have the scar. And they put it up here to have a bone transplant so my teeth can hold on to something. And that one sucked because not only was I in a wheelchair because it hurt to walk, then I couldn't eat. So I was just like, dude, this sucks. Like double, like I can't do shit. I was like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I was like, dude, this sucks. Like, why do I have to go through this? Like, why me? Because I have two brothers, totally normal, no issues.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dude, why me? Why? And then I look at like the human being I've become. I'm not here to toot my own horn, but I hit a lot of rough patches in the beginning of life where most people hit it at the end.
Yeah.
So my sympathy for human beings is huge. My understanding of pain, trauma, uncertainty of like, we'll see how it goes. That's my whole life. It's been pain, uncertainty, trauma, but a lot of kindness from strangers, a lot of doctors, nurses. And naturally, that's why I went into medical. It's like, and it just made me a very compassionate human being.
Yeah.
Because dude, you can hit me with something like, man, that looks like it's tough. Nah, I've been through way worse my whole entire life.
I got to tell you the story that I had. So I met this guy when I was doing my sales. He's down in Las Vegas. Again, the whole LDS connection, like we just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
And so this is what, 9 years ago. And then he gave me a sales call approach because that's what he was training and doing. And so we kind of connected and we stayed on Facebook friends for a while. Anyway, she's gone through some stuff. And anyway, I follow him on Instagram and I just randomly texted him like, so let's connect, and because some things he posts and like, hey, I need feedback. That's what I do, because I engage with people on social media.
Yeah.
The whole extrovert piece of me to have, if I don't ask you a question, you're not going to respond. So because you're not going to ask me a question, I'm going to be proactive in it.
Yeah.
That's my whole thing, right? Anyway, finally then, it happens over the weekend, and he gives me a call on Monday. We're playing phone tag back and forth, probably like the fourth time we've tried to call each other. We were both busy. Finally, we get to talk. We talked for about just under an hour. Anyway, he's telling me the story about having Bell's palsy. He just had it.
Yeah.
And
Bell's palsy.
Think about it, right? Your
whole face is bloop. Yeah, just droops.
Yeah. And so he's just like total random. So he's going through his divorce. He's a single dad right now. Super handsome dude. Outgoing. He's telling me he's not like he had diagnosed bipolar. So he's gone through some challenges of life.
Same here, man. I didn't find out I was diagnosed with bipolar 2 or 3 years ago. It's like, fuck, that makes so much sense too, dude. A lot of like my struggles with like happiness, sadness, like manic episodes. My parents never, they're like, oh, you know, and then they come to find out like, oh.
Yeah.
I had to find it out. Like,
yeah, and
that sucks.
So that's the thing. So you don't know this even when you're in a marriage, and that's why you do certain things, and like
you don't understand.
You don't, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and then the whole patriarchal cultural, like it's just that, again, topic for another time. But he tells me the story of like how he had Bell's palsy, and he's like, dude, it was my 4th day being in my house alone, and I'm a social creature, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like my face is messed up. I can only talk on like one side of my face, and it's like. And so he's just like, he thought, and this is why I freaking love this guy. He's just like, I thought to myself, where can I go where people are going to give me the highest self-esteem? And I live in Vegas. You know where he went?
Strip club. Yeah.
He went to the strip club. And then, again, he's a handsome dude. He has the same face, resting face, looks good. But when he smiles, it looks off. And he starts telling these strippers, he's just like, yeah. Just so you know, I have Bell palsy. It's not because I'm weird or anything like that.
Sure.
You are extremely attractive. Thank you for dancing with me or by me. And like, you just help me feel better about myself. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
So,
oh, baby.
Again, this whole, he's like, I will go somewhere where I pay them to give me a higher self-esteem. I'm like, bro, that's genius.
Yeah.
That's freaking genius. So here's the thing. He goes and does that. Then, a week or so later, he goes to an event and meets these bunch of people and meets these 2 girls who end up being in a couple together. And then he's just like, meets them and then has a little excursion.
Sure.
And then he's just like, dude, I had my first threesome ever in my life. And now they want me to be in a thruple with them. And I'm just like,
thruple? I've never even heard of a thruple.
Yeah,
What's
a 3-way couple. I don't know, man.
Interesting.
And it's so, but he was just so
human
elated.
Beings are so wild.
Yeah, because he was just like, look, if I didn't have my Bell's palsy and force myself to get out and be comfortable with it, I still have it right now. It's going away. It's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
But now, because I did that, I had the confidence to talk to these girls who then had the confidence to like bring me into their like relationship.
Wild.
And he's like, I'm not being I'm not having a throuple with them, but it's like,
sure,
it was cool to have that experience that I would never have had before. And now I have this phenomenal experience that I'm going to have for the rest of my life because I decided to not let my disability be who I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this is why I freaking love you, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is why.
There's those people out there, man. I know for me, I could have easily been like, F the world, like everybody's against me. I have every reason to be an alcoholic or drug addict or a very bitter person.
Yeah.
every reason. And I don't think anybody would be like, no, dude. They'd be like, yeah. But I was like, no, I don't want to be like that. I just feel like there's more. I've been through so much
Yeah.
that I could help so many people in so many different ways. I can understand so much that most people can't. And I was like, I'm gonna go that way with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, dude, I'm surprised you're as nice as you are. Or like, dude, I couldn't even tell. Like, I tell people what went down, and they're like,
Yeah.
I can't even tell. I was like, trust me, I could tell. I wake up every morning to it. Like,
Right.
I see all the wrong, but I see all the good too. And like your friend, he could have went the other way with it. You're like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm stuck at home. Nobody likes me. Nobody wants to talk to me. I'm gonna drink. I'm just gonna disappear and
Yeah.
be bitter. And he went the other way with it.
He did.
He's having a great time.
Yeah.
And those are the people you wanna encourage.
Yeah.
I can't, like, I have a brother who's in jail right now, heroin addict.
Uh-huh.
Went the total opposite way with life. And I talk to him all the time. I was like, Kevin, do you not know what I went through? You saw it.
Yeah.
I was like, if anybody should have been way off the edge, it should have been me. And you had everything given to you. This boy had a house bought for him at one point. You know, cars, money given to him, everything. And I was like, do you not see like how weird that is?
Yeah.
Like,
so
it's just wild how some people. It's really weird. Like I gravitate to people more who have been through shit.
yeah.
You know? I have sympathy for those who kind of had it tough, but I also don't go. That's it.
Yeah.
You know. But that's on me. I don't know. That probably makes me look like a bad person. Like, oh, you're. But it's like, you know, like you didn't have it that hard.
So it's funny. So when I went to lunch with that Rob Joseph guy, his kid Alex was telling me this a bunch of stuff. He's very heady, very philosophical, and he says this thing to me. He's like, how can I say it right? He says, "What you don't earn, you don't possess."
Right.
Okay.
Totally, dude.
So if you know what you went through to get that article, then you know how hard it was to gain it. So now you possess it. Now you hold it. Now it's your tangible or intangible object that you get to have.
Yeah.
But if it was given to you, you don't have that association how it was given to you.
Right.
You know, somebody gave you a home or got you out of this situation and burden. You don't know how to associate for life. So you're leapfrogging and not realizing what it took to get out of that scenario.
Yeah.
So then you can't learn from it down the line. What you don't earn, you don't possess.
Yeah. Man, that's wise. I wish my folks would have told them that.
But that's the thing. Maybe they haven't gone through some things that they needed to earn because they didn't possess it. So with my kids, I go through and have them have these conversations with random adults because random adults will talk to little kids. And that's why I'm doing it now with these kids, because then when they become tweens and teens and adults, when they don't want to talk to anybody, they've established and developed all these skill sets when they were younger to have the ability to talk to them.
Yeah. It's so wild, man. With what you just said, like my younger brother he never really had it that tough. It was always everything was kind of just given to him.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, maybe where he's at, is probably majority of everybody else's faults.
Yeah.
But like you said earlier, it's like people generally like to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And the intentions were always good. Like, man, I do not want to see you on the streets living in your car anymore.
Yeah.
Let's fix that. But for them not to get out of it on their own, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
They're just like, well, somebody will help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do this over and over and over.
And here's one of the most important words I ever learned in selling. I would talk to gatekeepers to get into other departments and the likes. So you go through this dispatch, right? And I would say, "Oh man, yeah, here's my scenario. How can you help me?" Right? I would emphasize help. And probably like 8 times out of 10, oh, okay, this is who person you should be talking to, and I would be genuine in my scenario, right? How can you help me find such and such contact or the person that does this and this?
Yeah.
And if I did contact them, what's the best approach? How can you help me connect with them? What's the best approach to connect with them? Bro, I can't tell you how many times I was able to get through these gatekeepers who were told not to get through to these people.
Yeah.
It's this whole genuine approach of help. How can you help me? Because us as human beings want to be able to be tribal, want to be able to be part of something.
Right.
And sometimes like we call it social engineering, where they're using it for manipulative reasons, but it's really because the social engineering is understood by these base feelings of helping. People always want to help. So understanding that, but using it in a genuine format, it's going to pay out dividends for anybody who leverages that way of thinking.
Yeah.
How can you help me?
Yeah.
Like you asked, you want to come on my podcast? Sure. Like, because I'm helping you grow your podcast.
Yeah.
Now you in
it
turn
helps.
are going to help me because I see you can DJ stuff here. You can edit. I'm doing all these events. I may not have my videographer may be booked. Now I got you I can reach out to and say, do all this backup stuff. It's like all these things. I'm helping you do this podcast, putting out this content. And then in turn, the rest of you down the line are going to be able to help me
you.
in some way, shape, or form. Because there's always this equilibrium that always has to come into to alignment. We always revert back to the mean.
Yeah.
So however that relationship is, it's always going to revert back to the mean. There's never going to be a deficit or an influx in either way.
Yeah. That is so true, man. Humans helping humans. Dude, cheers. Cheers to human
Salud.
heaven. What'd you think of this? So this is 10-year Templeton rye.
This is nice, man. This is smooth.
It's nice, huh?
I was going to say I almost like this more than the Johnny Walker, but you know,
Hey, to each their own.
Scotch is
Scotch is a very unique taste.
Yeah.
For people who are not familiar with Scotch, Scotch is only made in Scotland. That's Scotch
yep.
whiskey. So you're not going to get anything made in the U.S. that's Scotch. Their taste buds are different, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had multiple different Scotches. I was like, God damn, this is disgusting. And then I had Johnny Walker Blue Label.
And I can see why you keep it in the box.
Yeah, dude, it's such a pricey, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And then I found, I didn't even know Templeton Rye, I love rye. I didn't even know they made a 10-year. I found this in Vegas.
Yeah.
Because they have a 4 and a 6. That's all I would get. 4, 6,
Yeah.
4, 6, 4th year or the 6th year. I was like, a 10-year? I was like, damn, it's not as strong, but it's very smooth.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It's very nice.
So the more you can get a dated
I can see.
alcohol there's a reason why it costs more. So, but yeah. But I'm glad you like it, man.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Templeton is by far my favorite rye
Whiskeys.
whiskey.
Yeah.
But when it comes to whiskey, man, I don't know. There's so many.
So many
out there. Which ones have you tried so far?
Man, I'm not. I'm just getting into this sort of things right now. You
dude,
know.
I could show you the world of
I'm
bourbons and whiskeys and ryes.
Right.
Dude, whatever. Anytime you go out, hey, what should I try? Just give me the list. I'll show you.
All right, so you got it, bro.
And especially, are you into Japanese whiskey? Dude.
Last night I had my had a Japanese whiskey drink, and I'm like,
Which one did you have?
I can't remember, but it was phenomenal.
Was it Hibiki?
I can't remember.
Can't
dude.
remember. Gotcha. There's some.
Oh, I have had Hibiki. Somebody gave it to me as a gift.
Oof. Hold on to that. That's still far. One of my favorite. And Yamazaki, the 12-year is really good. I'm not sure if you had that one yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do not try the Santori one you see at like the liquor store.
Really?
It comes in like a little square one.
Yeah.
Not good.
Okay.
Yeah, don't. That's
All right, good to know.
garbage. But Santori makes really good whiskey, just not that one.
Yeah. Gotcha, man.
I think that's like been in the barrel for like 30 days. It doesn't age long. But
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, you know, these coasters, you know, and I said to you, "Oh, Endless Summer," and you're like,
dude, not a lot of people know what that is.
Yeah.
One of the best surf movies ever.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
And I was telling you how before we started recording how my ex-wife did a year in University of Hawaii, and she surfed every freaking day. What
Man,
is
I would
that
love
like,
that,
man?
dude. That's you probably feel so relaxed in life.
Yeah, she was saying that's the best time in her life she could remember.
Yeah.
And it was always something I tried to, you can't do that when you have kids and all this sort of stuff, right? But she is now able to like reflect back on like those good, wholesome times with the friends she made from her life when she was there in Hawaii as a poor ass college student.
Dude, those are the funnest times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she reflects back on those, and it's like endless summer. And she always loves endless summer. You know?
It's the best
And I
surf
remember,
video ever.
I know,
dude.
and I remember
I
when
keep
they're
saying it, but God, it's good.
when they're going to fill up gas, and it's like such an expensive price or something like that.
It's like what, like
I
$1
can't
or
remember.
something?
Something like that, or
Yeah,
50
like,
cents.
what? Yeah, dude.
It's like so expensive here in
It's so
California.
expensive.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, dude.
oh my goodness, no wonder now it's like $6 in California, something like that. It's like just so funny, man.
Bro, what is your feeling on where the world is right now with?
That's too in
Man,
depth
I
to get
wake
into.
up so we won't go way into
All I
it,
wanna-
but
all
I
I
wake
know-
up so stressed. I'm like, fuck, are we gonna get nuked?
Here's the thing.
Is this coming?
And here's the thing, you got to. I learned this when I was going through my bankruptcy. Is that you can only control what you can control.
Fair.
Do not fet
True.
yourself with these thoughts of these global powers and people who are out there trying to persuade and push you into one direction or another. You get to control your universe of how you get to control it. And one of the reasons why I also like Stoicism, because I need to be present with who I am. Yeah. When the Seneca and these guys that were, they talk about how if you're going to die today, die the best day you'll ever have. Yeah. Memento mori. Remember, you will always die.
True.
That keeps you humble. Memento
it's
mori.
weird that you say that because when I like think about a purchase I need to make, I'm like, should I wait? Should I plan it out a little bit more harder? Should I, then I go, it's like, dude, you could die in a heartbeat. You could die and have an aneurysm as you're buying this shit. Just, be mindful. Don't go into debt like unnecessarily. Right. But if you're like, dude, I really want to try this, and do it.
Yeah. Gain the experiences. Know what you control.
Know
what
your
you
limits.
Can control.
Yeah.
Because you're going to live to 100. Don't do things that are going to divert away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird you just said that because I think about I was like, don't stress about it, bro. You're gonna die anyway. Yeah. It's weird, huh?
Yeah, when the I guess the Roman empires, when they come back from war, they would have the slaves like they would be on chariot or whatever, they would be pranced into the city, and the slaves would also always say up to them, memento mori, memento mori, memento mori, because remember, one day you will die.
It's true.
Put things in perspective. Do not let your pride get in front of your being humble.
Right.
Because in a second, it will be taken away from you. I know what it's like. I've lost everything.
Yeah.
Anything and everything will be taken away from me at some point in time. I want to build up everything that I can around me, because when one pillar falls, I have so many other pillars holding me up.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, truth. Truth. But yeah, I do worry though about our state of the United States and its well-being.
We'll be okay.
We'll be okay, but it's gonna be tough. I think gas
Sure
will hit at least $10 will be the minimum sooner or later.
That's why my girlfriend drives a Tesla.
Yeah. But have you heard the conspiracies about all that too?
Man, I don't know. I'm a Freemason.
Yeah.
All right. You want to know about conspiracies?
There's so much.
There's so many conspiracies.
Just listen about a podcast about I know a lot about Freemasons.
I'll tell you what.
We could talk.
I absolutely will tell you this. People have loose lips, and it's so incredibly hard to keep a conspiracy together.
That's true, man. Yeah, yeah.
You can go on the internet and know what we do.
True.
It's people have loose lips.
How did you get into? Dude, it's so weird because I was looking into Freemason. I listened to podcasts about Freemasons. I was like, dang, I wonder what it's like.
So being
I know you
LDS,
can't go way into it.
yeah,
But
no,
I
I
know
can tell you about being LDS, right? Like it was the
it's
Elders
built
Quorum.
it's
Elders
built
Quorum.
around Freemasons.
Elders Quorum is what the fraternity of Freemasonry what it was and
Yeah.
is, right? That's the foundations is built. It's Freemasonry, and then also the founding fathers of the faith of Mormonism were Freemasons.
Uh-huh.
They, for all intent and purposes, if you want to say like they were inspired, they took it from it, whatever you want to say. But yes, the temple ceremonies that we do have are inspired from
Freemasons.
Freemasonry. Yeah, because we came from the Temple of Solomon.
Yeah.
So how I came about with it is that I used to work at the University of Utah, and then I had somebody come in and say and wanted to advertise. So I worked on the media. It was a chrony, so for all intent and purposes, the Chronicle, and I'd sold advertising there. And somebody came in and said, "Hey, we're doing this Freemasonry event at the temple on South Temple and 7th East.
Right.
Come through and hang out." I'm like, all right. So I told my ex-wife, and like her and I went there. And so we sat up in there, and then we heard the story of like, oh yeah, you can't be Mormon and a Mason. And they're like, oh, okay, hold on. Let's ask a Mormon who's a Mason right now what happens. And the whole thing with like polygamy and like you have to abide by the laws of the land as a Freemason. So because Mormons practice polygamy, it's against the rules of the land. You couldn't be a Freemason. So that was the whole thing there. And they got rid of that. So in 84, they instated like Mormons could be Masons. And so, but it's never been something that the Masons would like go and proactively, oh, yay, oh, we can get all these Mormons to come into our,
Sure. Yeah.
because in Freemasonry, we don't talk about religion. We don't talk about politics. Two taboo topics because we do not like conflict. We want to build a brotherhood between all of us, right?
I thought, when you do become a Mason, don't you have to have some sort of belief in a higher power?
You cannot be an atheist. And we put that into
Gotcha.
our bylaws, and you shake and give a grip and agree to the fact that you will not be an atheist. You can believe in any other higher power. It does not have to be a deity.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be the quote unquote God.
No, you can believe in Mother Nature. Like Mother Nature, something created us. Like again, we have limited knowledge.
That's true.
So something created you and I. It could have been evolution. So maybe let's believe in evolution. And evolution is our creator, right? It could be that. I don't know, but I will not say that it's just one God.
One dude, a dude,
or
too.
dudes or a female, whatever that may be,
females.
right?
Yeah.
So I believe that we were created somehow
Sure.
from something because we just didn't just evolve out of nothing. Something sparked and was the catalyst for us. And again, maybe it could be this whole simulation that Elon Musk talks about, but whatever that may be. Right?
He's such an interesting dude.
Yes.
I mean, I don't agree with him on everything, but I'm like,
he's a thinker.
He's a thinker.
He's not. He's on the spectrum. That's why
He's definitely on the spectrum for sure.
So yeah. So again, being a Freemason, that's why we believe in what we believe in. We hold these like we were a fraternity. So the original fraternity that's been around for centuries.
Oh yeah, you guys, decades, years, millenniums.
So since the
do you get a lot of shit for being a Freemason?
Never.
Wow. Okay, that's good.
So again,
I'm not against it. You know, it's no different from me from someone being religious, Catholic, Christian. You know, you found something that you like, that works for you, that you feel connected with.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do the conspiracy behind Freemasons is insane.
Yeah.
Some of it.
People want to give validity to whatever they want to give. But like so I was saying, so with my ex-wife, we went to an open house, and that's when the guy was like, hey, you can be a Mormon as a Freemason. And my ex-wife leans over to me. She's like, you need to join these guys.
Wow.
And I'm like,
and she
what?
was for it, huh?
Oh, she was totally about it.
Wow.
Because she knows what my strengths were. You know, like, hey, it's people. I'm very good at people. She's not, right? She's good at the operational and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. But she knows Vinay is like the front guy.
Yeah.
So go and make these connections, make these opportunities, and build our family together. So that's why I was able to, and as a Mormon at the time, I was true believing Mormon, the TBM they used to call it, true believing Mormon.
Yeah.
And so that's why I went. But it's all about confirmation bias. So when I did my first initiation, you go through, and I'm just like, holy crap, these are a lot of similarities between the temple ceremony I did and then the Freemasonry ceremony I did. And like my eyes were open. that I knew from good from evil, and like how things would happen, and like how they would transpire, and Adam and Eve, and the creation. I'm like,
Yeah. I try to tell my parents, I'm like, you know, a lot of your temple ceremonies are from Freemason, like kind of like pulled over and reworked, right? And they're like,
mm-hmm.
no. I was like, do you know Joseph Smith? Dad was a master mason.
And Joseph Smith was too.
Yeah, and he was too. I'm like, a lot
All
of
of
your
them.
ceremonies and the things that you wear are from, and they've. I was
Yeah.
like, look at your garments. I know there's a compass and square on there, buddy. I'm not uneducated here. And he's like, nah. I was like, okay, Dad, whatever. I was like, you have the foundation of Freemason in your, you know,
In your belief system.
in your belief system.
Yeah.
So
So that's the thing. So, I mean, people can believe how they choose. And that's
Sure.
the thing that I love about free agency, because you are an agent unto yourself, and you get to choose for how you believe and what you believe. And whatever reasons those may be, you get to have that opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
And then as a Freemason, I'm not going to thwart on your right to believe in whatever you believe. Just don't push me in towards what you believe.
yeah,
Let me come to my conclusion. I will meet you on the square with my hands held high,
yeah,
and I will give you my grip and my sign and show you I'm a true Freemason. And irregardless of who you are and what you believe, you will always be my brother.
Dang, dude. You have me intrigued. I have always been intrigued by Freemasons, and because honestly, that's what I was taught, not knowing I was being taught that.
Yeah.
But it's really weird that I was thinking about. I was looking it up too. I was like, "Where's one in Utah?"
I don't know. People can go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy
Oh,
theories.
for
and
sure,
you can
man.
get lost. But
I'm sure
just,
there's people gonna be listening, like, "Oh, he's." I'm like, you don't
I'm
know.
part of the Illuminati, but
Yeah,
like, you know how
this is-
hard it is to be in the Illuminati, or even put together an Illuminati group.
I don't even know who you find in the Illuminati.
It came out of
real.
Freemasonry, but
Yeah.
even it's just people have loose lips. You sign NDAs, nah. People still blab. They want to boast. They want to brag. It does not exist, and I just.
Well, you're one of the nicest Freemasons I've ever met. Dude.
Well, we're all fucking nice, man.
You know, that's the thing. I don't know a lot of Freemasons, and I hope people are listening, like, oh, you know, don't judge this very nice human being who's opening his life up. You don't have to even come on here,
Right.
talk about everything you've done, your family, your kids. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't care. You could be Freemason. You could be Illuminati. You could be. If you're a nice person, hey, you're a nice person.
I could be a Luciferian, bro.
Yeah.
I could be in Lucifer. Believe in it. Like, whatever.
Yeah, you could believe in the devil, or you could believe in those. What's that owl thing that they believe in? Those.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove.
Yeah,
stuff
Bohemian
like that.
Grove. Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah.
Just be a good, decent human being to me, and I'll do the same.
Yeah.
Reciprocity, right?
Yeah, I could probably have beliefs where you're like, what the fuck? But
aliens, what?
Yeah, aliens, what? Oh, man. Dude, did you really think that there's aliens out there? Oh, my God. I
There's
think
got
it's
to be
such bullshit.
There's got to be other solar systems that are out there. Again, we have no proof.
Exactly.
But do you really think like aliens will come to our planet and leave us alone?
Right. If I were an alien, if I were a human being, and I was like, I could go to Jupiter, no problem. I'm like, you really think I'm not gonna fuck with you a little bit,
Right.
and see how you are?
And this is the thing, human beings, right? We're conquerors.
Yeah.
You know, against Sapiens, it talks about how you go to all these like areas of the world and you conquer them and you absorb their interests and who they are.
Yeah.
But you bring in your culture, and that's the dominant culture. So that's why you look at the British Empire across the world, but the Brits weren't the first ones to go and dominate the world.
Who is it? Was it the Vikings?
Vikings fell apart because they didn't have the structure. And here's the thing so you look at the Portuguese who are Catholic.
Oh, yeah.
You look at the French who are Catholic. You look at the Spaniards who are Catholic.
Spaniards took over. My God, they conquered everything.
But they tried to be missionaries and convert, because that was their purpose and their mission.
Right.
And that's how they got all these people to convert and bend the knee to the religion that they had.
Yeah.
But you know what the British did? They were Protestants. They did not give a crap. You can have your own religion, do whatever you want, just trade with me. Give me your goods, and I'll give you ours, and then let's go and spread it across the world. Alexander the Great was the same way. How did he go and, like, he's 33 years old and he finally passes on? Like, how did he go and conquer basically a continent? Because he kept the rule of law that they had in, but they were also to pay back to the crown and then give these education and these opportunities to all these sort of people.
Yeah.
You know, it's
wild, dude.
When you go to
We're so
convert
wild.
people and take away, this is why it's so important, agency, right?
Yeah.
Agency.
Agency.
You take away somebody's right to choose, they're going to hate you for it.
Yeah, look at Nazi Germany. Fucking hate. It's so wild that people still are like for Hitler, you know?
But you take away somebody's right to choose.
Right.
That's where you are going to fall away and not have followers. And you're going to be a sole leader of none.
Yeah. Fuck. Man. Dude, humans are wild, bro. We are so wild.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the shit that comes out of our mouths, like the whole alien thing is so dumb. There's people who have taught me, like, dude, you should read this book. Like, it's for sure Roswell, for sure. I'm like,
Right,
you
right.
really think that's for sure? Come on.
Yeah.
Like, here's my thing about aliens. If they're real, they never get out of their ships. Why?
Right.
It's because they're not real. You know?
Oh,
if I was a
man.
new species getting out on land, I was like, all right, man, let me step out and see.
How is nitrogen going to affect your skin or the ability to breathe?
Right.
And, it's just...
These little smooth humans like this tall. Dude, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't buy that shit, dude. I don't buy any of that shit.
Well.
Like, why would you... It was funny, some of my friends are like, oh, dude, the CIA let them... Like, you're going to really believe the CIA has the best interest in you?
Right.
And they're going to let this out?
Yeah.
Come on.
You're not that special.
Yeah, we're not that special to them. All they care about is you going to work and making a paycheck so they can jack your ass every month.
Yeah.
You know? Dude, my taxes. Oh, I can go on so much shit that doesn't
You
make
totally
any
can.
sense, dude. Like, my tax, dude. I did my taxes. I make pretty good money.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got $250 back.
Hey, at least you got something back.
I was like, hold up. You guys almost took 10 grand from me that I could have really used and put it towards my school loans. That's where I don't like the tax system, how it's set up, that you don't get to pick and choose how your taxes are used.
Yeah.
I really think that should be back to the human being. Like, say you have a school loan, but you have a really good job. I was like, well, then take those taxes and apply it to my school loan.
Right.
That'll be my monthly payment. But they just jack your ass without even going to work.
Yeah.
Huh? That's a Chris Rock line. Chris Rock side.
Yeah.
Rock line.
Yeah,
in
from
his
his stand-up.
Yeah. It's called getting jacked.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I hate it, bro. I mean, I understand why we need taxes, but it's like, dude, it's being spent in so many wrong directions. I don't really know where it goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you do.
No.
I don't think a lot
falls
of people
into an
know.
abyss.
Yeah. And they just spin. It's like, well, can I kind of tell you where I would like it to go?
Yeah.
There's some foundations I would like to give it to, like, Operation Smile, where they do cleft lip palate repairs.
Exactly.
I would love to give the majority of that to them. But they just spend it on dumb shit. I have no idea why.
Right. Well,
it
man,
probably goes in their pockets.
I gotta tell you, this has been fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed.
Dude, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate your time. And I know we've gone back and forth for a couple weeks here.
Yeah.
Trying to figure this out.
And I just remember putting my post of myself when I was married, living in St. George, and I ironically had the same golf shirt and same blue shorts and swinging my golf club in Mesquite. And I was probably 220 pounds
big boy
or something like that.
At one point.
And
just shredded.
And yeah, and then I did mine back in, and that was November of, I don't know, remember 2014 or 15 or something like that. Yeah. And then I put myself now, and I'm just like, I look at myself, I'm like, holy crap, that's a fucking glow up, man.
Yeah.
And then you're like, dude, you need to come on my podcast and talk to me about your life and who you are, and like how do you look like this now versus like,
I remember I was like, hey, do you do testosterone? Because I remember you were posting gym pictures. I was like, damn, this fool is in shape. Like,
yeah, not
just
yet.
thick and beefy and like.
I'm trying to hold off as long as I can because once you get on it, you can't get off it.
Dude, I'm on it.
And
I did my blood work, and the doctor's like, do you know where your free T is at? I was like, no. And he's like, dude, you're at 4. And the normal range is 8 to 25. I was like, you're at 4. This was not even me doing testosterone or anything. But I always felt like, dude, I feel like shit. I'm tired.
Yeah.
My muscles hurt. I can't, my back is always fucked. I was like, this doesn't feel right at 35.
Yeah.
Like, something's up. So I finally found a dude that was really to work with me, and I told him, this is what I've done so far.
Yeah.
I've done every vitamin you can think of naturally, all the food, all that shit. I was like, I can't figure out why I feel like garbage.
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, let's test it out. I was like, whatever, dude. It's just going to be like every other doctor. I was like, you're normal? He's like, yeah, I came in for a follow-up. He's like, you got a couple problems. Like, oh, okay.
So then they diagnosed you, and then you're like able to like now get on T, and I guarantee you it's improved your mood.
Bro, let me tell you, I've been on it for 7 days so far. I have to do, so my thyroid was underactive.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I was underactive and overproducing T4, which T4 is actually really bad for men. It's like very detrimental to your health. You have a little bit, but I was overproduction. He's like, we're going to shut that down, and I'm going to give you a cream, and you're just going to rub it on your inner thigh.
Yeah.
And we're going to build you up to a very nice level. We're not going to do the injections, because the injections, which I didn't know, is very synthetic. So you get these really high peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to feel great, and then you're going to dive. You're going to feel great. He's like, dude, what I'm going to give you, this cream, is it's going to get you up, and you're going to stay here.
Yeah.
No more of ups and downs. I was like, all right. So I've been on it for 7 days. My back feels better.
Yeah.
I am able to go to the gym and like work out, not be sore. I'm a little sore, but not like I used to. I couldn't move like the next day. I can bend over now without getting stuck.
And it's so
funny.
It's
so fucking crazy, dude.
And that's the thing. And then like you look at back when we were kids and like how, steroid, blah, it's bad. Like, well, now it's the norm, right, for us. But they now, because they have the ability to put science and it's you got off these regulations and like allowed men to understand their bodies.
And to be men.
Yeah. And the whole thing is because there was this stigma behind it of like, taking testosterone, you're going to have these roid rages and like all this stuff.
Your nuts are going to get small.
You know what? But if men can't be men, the whole thing of man masculinity and like go off on that again, another topic for another day. But like that's the thing. If we need to be men, we need to be leaders, we need to be alphas.
Dude, men are I'm 100% with you. We are bred to be hunter-gatherer, like hunters. Not gatherers, more hunters. We're aggressive human beings. Look at like when the draft happened. Who went first? Men. Why? Because we're aggressive motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Because when we get mad, and they want to use men to do it because, dude, we're just built a different way. We're built bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Like we're just.
So the reason for
it's wild, dude.
And then
it's so wild.
And just because I've had people I know who. I can see them before tea and after tea and how good they are now. Yeah. Because now they're on it and they're not aggressive. They're not like these roid rage. Yeah. It just makes you feel better about yourself.
Yeah. And you can feel better.
Right? And that is what's
so
more important.
Crazy.
That is what's more important because now you're going to be a better human being and have all these emotions and ability to like be a better leader and help people out than before when you were just irritable all the time because you're on your low T. You're not serving your purpose, and it's because there's a chemical imbalance in you.
Yeah.
There's just all this stuff that's behind the scenes that nobody gets to see. All they get to see is the fruits that you end up doing. So the fact that you're on it, great. And then that's the thing. Yeah, I remember telling you, I'm like, I'm trying to stay off it for as long as I could.
I don't want to be addicted, but I went the same route. I was like, bro, I don't want to be addicted to like a medication for the rest of my life, and like not even addicted, but like dependent on it.
Yeah.
But then when he showed me the blood work, when I had the
and you
printout,
have to do it,
and it's like, do you want to keep feeling like shit, or do you want to feel better? Do you want to able to walk? I couldn't even walk for a while, dude.
Yeah.
Everything was so like just stuck.
And it messes with your mind.
Dude, yeah, I just like, man, I'm 35. I was like, I'd just rather it be over.
Yeah.
That's how bad it got.
I get it.
Yeah. And now I've only been on this stuff for a week, and I was like, dude, my back doesn't fucking hurt so much.
You feel better as a
Yeah.
and
I
now
can
you're
think
starting to figure
clearer.
out your purpose and mission in life.
Dude. So if anybody's struggling out there and you think it's that, start there.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
There's no embarrassment anymore.
No, because I look back at it like how I used to be vegan like to a T. Like,
Yeah.
But a lot of that vegan is a lot of carbs and a lot of soy.
Yeah.
So I was just
dumping
for the last 10 years.
The estrogen,
soy. And I didn't want to believe it. I was like, dude, like I have the, the stuff to counterbalance all that.
Yeah.
But I overloaded on soy and there was no testosterone. And I got really like weak, like brittle. I don't recommend vegan diet for anybody.
And now you get to control your own life, you control your destiny. So
yeah.
Anyway, man, I remember going through that, and then like you post and you're like, bro, you gotta come on. You gotta tell me about your life and who you are, and like I'm not creeping on you, but I like what you're doing and stuff. And so
Likewise.
and I just want to say, man, I appreciate the fact that you're doing this. You're gonna hone on, chip away at your craft. Yeah. Again, we're all rough asslers.
Yep.
You get to use these tools now, these hands, this mind, and you get to chisel that stone until it becomes smooth and square. Because every single day you get to do stuff like this, you're chipping away on the rough assler.
Yeah, dude. This is what I like to do. I don't like clocking in. I hate it. Yeah. But I understand like it's a process to get where you want to be.
Yeah.
It takes time.
So, man, I just want to say thanks. I appreciate you being on here
so much. Anytime you want to come back on, man, we can talk about some other topic. We have so much in common. It's wild.
There's so many things, bro.
But I appreciate your time and coming on here, dude.
Okay.
Really do. So where can people find you if you want them to find you?
Nah, I don't want people. Just kidding. Right. So YPSLC. So you just got to Google us. YPSLC. So Young Professional Salt Lake City.
Okay. I will link that, everybody, into the video description if you want to find them. Do you want people to find you on Instagram?
Yeah, YPSLC.
Okay.
Just Google Young Professional Salt Lake City or YPSLC and you'll find us. We're the only ones out there. And I love it because I love facilitating friendships.
Sweet. All right, my friend. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hey, I appreciate your time, man. Always.
Thanks, bro.
And like I always say, take care of yourself, take care of others. Peace.